lot of responsibility.
It's all you.
All right, guys. How you guys doing? It's Cameron Barkey here. I am part of the ThoughtXchange. I'm with my boy, Steve Van Diest.
I'm not your boy.
Oh, jeez, you're going to do that to me, eh? Yeah. So I'm with not my boy, Steve Van Diest, right?
Yeah,
Steve Van Diest,
we're not related.
We're not related in the slightest, right? I did not birth him, but I mean, like, it is what it is. So, yeah. Steve Van Diest, introduce yourself real quick.
Hey, what's going on? I'm Steve Van Diest.
Yeah. Hey, and then we have in the hot seat, which we call it, we have Justin McGloin.
Hey.
Justin McGloin in the hot seat. And as discussed before the episode, Justin McGloin, what is going on? Just give us maybe 2-3 minutes of yourself, where you come from, a little bit of background, what's going on. And then this episode is going to be a really fun episode. We're going to be talking about, there's a bunch of people who want to be storming Area 51.
Oh, I heard about this.
I know. Hold on. Okay. We got kind of like, it all ties together.
Are they going to do like a big massive
group? Yeah, we'll talk about that in a bit.
Jeez,
so we got Justin McGloin, and we're going to talk. He's our resident expert in this subject now. Right.
Oh God.
So we got a bunch of people are going to rush Area 51, like 1 million people. We're also talking about, this is actually the 50th anniversary of the quote unquote moon landing.
Okay.
Right. And then what was the other thing we're talking about?
You wanted to talk about
Bob Lazaar. Yeah, we're talking about Bob Lazaar on Joe Rogan show. Shout out
to Joe Rogan. Yeah.
Yeah, Joe Rogan.
Thanks for the inspiration, buddy.
Text me later, Joe Rogan.
Yeah.
Shoot me a message.
Yeah,
but anyways, we got Justin McGloin on the show. For our audience right now, if you could just introduce yourself and kind of a little bit what you're about, and then we're just going to touch base on those episodes.
So my name is Justin McGloin, originally from New Brunswick. I've been in Alberta for, years. I spend way too much time on the internet, so when Cam wanted to talk about these things, I felt it was...
just fit.
It just fit. We've had a lot of fun conversations around the bar.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. Let's see where this goes.
I guess, yeah, we can definitely see where that goes. All right, Justin McGloin, what is your take? Let's start with the Area 51 stuff. I don't know how much everybody knows about this, but like, what is your take on the Area 51? Like I don't know too much about it, but like apparently there's like 500,000.
Well, it's over 1 million now.
Okay.
It's over 1 million now.
Explain to us what's going on.
So this started, I
it's
think,
over 1 million people.
Yeah, I think on Facebook.
Is there a group or something?
Yeah, so it's a petition.
Okay.
It's people signing up they want to storm Area 51.
They want a tour.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So it's 20 miles of like Mojave Desert that they're planning on running through. So I don't know how this is going to work so well. But 1 million people, if we could get these people to sign up for, social programs, it might be, much more beneficial.
Yeah, like what are we actually doing right now?
So I think this all stemmed from this Bob Lazaar thing.
Okay.
Bob Lazaar goes on, like you guys know about Bob Lazaar, obviously.
Well,
Bob Lazaar goes on.
Oh yeah, he was stressed on that show. Like he had headaches and he was just like, he didn't know what to say.
Well,
he just had a migraine.
Let's explain.
Yeah, but that's a stress migraine is what he had. He didn't know what to say.
Let's explain to the audience. Who's Bob Lazaar? And then we're going to tie it back to this Area 51 stuff.
You explain who Bob Lazaar is. You're more of the...
I don't know too much about Bob Lazaar. I just know that Bob Lazaar was a gentleman who apparently worked on or in a compound close to Area 51.
And also Area 51.
And also Area 51?
Area 55, I think it was, or something like that.
I don't know the name. There's a bunch of different names.
South 55 or something like that.
Yeah, something like
Whatever
that.
Whatever it is, yeah. I mean, in that area in the desert.
And he was working on an anti-gravity propulsion.
Yeah, which is it's super neat if it's true. So Bob Lazaar was a physicist that lived in whatever area.
Like he also was like he built those. He was a propulsionist, so he built that Honda with a.
He had a Honda with a jet engine.
With a jet engine in it, and so based on that, he was like a 20-year-old kid or whatever that got picked up by these guys, by the government CIA, and they threw him into this mix just to see if something.
Let's throw a body at this.
Let's throw a body at.
And
then not only that, but
the last person died.
Yeah, he's replacing.
He's like the person that I was replacing died for a surprise nuclear testing.
Yeah.
They tried to cut the thing open, I guess.
Yeah.
So
okay,
we're getting too far ahead here.
Yeah, I know we're getting way too far ahead.
People don't know what the hell's going on. Like, yeah.
Yeah, no. Everyone on the backstory. There was a gentleman who had his name's Bob Lazaar. And he had actually been approached by some government organization to work on a project in I'm just going to say Area 51 for just
because everyone knows what that is.
Just everyone knows what Area 51 was.
In the desert.
In the desert in, where's that? Nevada?
Nevada, yeah.
Yeah, he was in the Nevada desert working on some secret project. And there was he called it anti-gravity.
He started it by calling it a gravity machine.
Gravity machine.
In order to describe it, he had to use the word anti-gravity.
Anti-gravity, yeah. So
because it was pushing things away.
It was pushing things away. So,
but if you know the way that gravity works, if it creates its own gravitational point,
field or pull, yeah,
then that's gonna repel. I don't know. Anyway, yeah, it's an anti-gravity machine.
Yeah,
effectively.
And anyways, this guy he was commissioned to work for some government organization, and this is on the Joe Rogan show. You can watch this whole episode.
Well, there's also a
documentary.
The
documentary is not as good as Rogan. Like I watched the documentary, it was well done, but like you get more information at a Rogan show.
Well, Rogan had to really calm him down. It's good what Rogan did. He's like, look, like let's take this chance to.
Oh yeah, he was stressed. He was way more
camping out on this guy's front lawn.
Yeah,
like Well, these are the same freaks that want to storm Area 51. You know, so I don't know.
Taking it back to that, right?
Well, that's where we were going to start.
That's where we're going to start. But so all those people who liked Bob Lazaar are the same type of guys who want to.
Yeah. How did the poll do?
Which poll?
We put a poll up about whether they believed him or not.
No one believes him.
No believe him.
Yeah, it's close to. I think it's like 70-30 right now. Actually,
I don't believe you.
Do you believe him?
It's hard to say. It's hard to say because like sometimes like I feel like he's checking his story, but either whether he's trying to do memory, but like I don't know. I think if I was working on an anti-gravity machine, I would have a lot of those dates and things memorized. But I don't know. It seems he doesn't seem like he really wants to push it forward. Like he doesn't really care as much.
Yeah, but how much money is he making off it?
Nothing. That's why.
You don't think he's making anything off of it?
No.
Nothing.
You don't think he's making any money off that?
The guy's an idiot. He's not
what
making any money.
What do you mean? He could monetize the shit out of that. Even his Netflix special, you don't think he's making any money off that?
He's got to be making money.
I think the documentary guy is making money off that.
Oh, maybe.
So he's not.
So here's my question of it.
Okay, talk to me.
If it's 1950, 1960, you're the U.S. government. He said he had 9 UFOs or whatever they call them, AAVs now.
What's AAV?
Anomalous aircraft vehicle.
Oh, they don't call it.
So something because once it's identified, it's not unidentified, right? So okay. Anomalous aircraft vehicle. I believe. Don't hold me to that. But if they're there in the 50s, and then they're there in the 60s, and then they busted Bob Lazaar for videotaping it in the 80s, would it still be there? Would Area 51 still be a thing? Would they
still leave it at that area?
Yeah, and then would they allow this guy to just roll around talking about anti-gravity devices?
Okay, the thing with that is I've had the conversations with other people about this, and if they were to get rid of him, like he dies of a heart attack, he goes crazy, he slips and hits his head on ice, whatever. Now he's a martyr. Now he's a martyr.
So there was a gentleman, I forget the guy's name, who exposed the CIA for a cocaine trafficking whole situation. And that guy, his cause of death is suicide with 2 bullet wounds in the back of his head.
Yeah, that's what
and
I'm
that
saying.
happened on the front of his... But you never heard about that.
Like I heard about it.
But where did that go? If Bob Lazaar disappears tomorrow, then he disappears tomorrow, and we all go, oh, that's interesting, and then we never talk about it again. They're allowing this guy to roll around. There's Netflix. I don't know.
The Netflix one's a little bit weird, to be honest.
They allow it on Netflix.
Yeah, that's
you
true.
know what? The other thing is too is they're also probably trying to test out the market too. See how many people go crazy for it. How many people?
Well, that's the big thing.
They want to see because they're calling it disclosure, right?
So there's little D and big D disclosure, and I think they're getting pretty close to big D disclosure.
What's big D?
Big D is
like a press conference with a fucking
them showing like an Independence Day sort of like crafts that we can see that we can't deny. I honestly think that's coming. Now, why I think that's coming is a little bit of an offshoot, but I think that they're exactly like you said. They're gauging kind of where we're going.
They?
The governments of the world are trying to figure out how to.
Those think tanks and stuff.
Yeah,
like
they're
that.
trying to figure out how to introduce this stuff.
What stuff?
Well, there's
anti-gravity devices.
No. So the big thing isn't the technology. An anti-gravity device is pretty cool, and the way that he was looking at it, where assuming that these people weren't hyper advanced, but maybe just that they were in a situation where they had access to these minerals and elements that made the. Because what was he talking about? Element 115.
Yeah.
Is we can't stabilize it on Earth, but this thing was apparently made of it. And if that was a naturally occurring element in whatever star system they're from, then maybe they started out their whole, like we went to steam, maybe they went to anti-gravity first. So it was pretty interesting. But if those aliens are actually around, then that's the important part. It's not the technology. The technology is beneficial, but they would have to tell the population that, hey, like there's
also the idea.
Others.
There's also the idea that those aliens are actually here. We just can't see them because they're interdimensional. So like, there's those things with people like when they take those ayahuasca or mushrooms and things like that, they tap into that other dimension and then deal with those creatures, right?
That's where you guys differ, I think, isn't it?
Well, no, where I differ, and I've never said this like in as big of a
in a public forum, in front of
public
one,
forum
two,
on
three,
this,
four,
but
five, six
so
cameras.
for me,
There's a lot of cameras here right now.
this is why disclosure is so important. It's because for me, I don't believe that there are aliens, and I don't believe that there are interdimensional things. I believe that those are spiritual demons, and that's what we see.
The interdimensional stuff was like spiritual demons, yeah.
Right. So if you look at, and now we're getting way off topic. But
Yeah, this is okay.
Yeah.
This is like I'm gonna bring it back. We'll do this little offshoot here for like
Okay.
I don't know 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And if this offshoot gets a little bit too deep, I'm bringing it back to people showing
Okay.
up at Area 51.
which is the perfect comic relief.
exactly.
Like, it's awesome.
It's not even comic relief. It's like
Just
it's
millennials
like,
running at a 20-mile
Yeah, no, I don't-
marathon with guns at the end.
I know. They're gonna get
Ran
wasted.
into guns.
I know. Like, what are they gonna do?
You
Anyways,
can't
yeah.
go into trespassing. You
No.
just open
They'll
them up.
shoot you.
They'll just have a plane come through, and then everyone will just turn around and run the
They'll
other
be like,
way.
oh, yeah, that was a stupid Facebook stunt.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyways, yeah, keep going.
So, if we're talking biblically, and we're talking about the Great Deception,
Yeah.
in Revelation we're
can
told
you,
that
can you,
there's...
can you
okay.
explain the Great Deception to the audience?
Okay, so...
Because like this is deep.
So, in the Gospels, Jesus is asked what to expect in the end times. And we're told more times than anything else to not let anybody deceive you, and that there's going to be a deception that comes around that if allowed, will deceive even the elect. So even those that are very
power?
studious... No, like the Christian elect. So
Okay.
those that are very studious, it'll kind of sway them out of their faith. We're also told that there's an event that's going to have all the armies of the world turn and be ready to fight Jesus when he comes back.
Do you know the actual biblical passages to that? Like, do you know the actual verse names or numbers?
I could find them for you.
Those would be in Revelation, though, wouldn't they?
No, so it's Matthew.
If you want to Google it, Google it.
It's in Matthew 6, I believe, and then the other ones are in Revelations. I'll Google them in a bit.
Yeah, do it, and then just tell the audience so they know.
Yeah. So
Matthew 6 though does talk just about the Lord's Prayer. I don't know.
so it's not 6. Let me look it up.
Yeah, look it up and then...
I don't know them offhand. So if we're talking about the deception, what single action could sway the whole planet religion-wise away from religion? That would be disclosure.
Yeah.
So that would be, hey, there's a people here. What are we seeing now? We seeded you. We seeded monkeys, and we're kind of, like we set this whole thing up.
Yeah.
So that, let's say that happens, that kills 90% of religion as it is. Boom, done right there. And then let's say that they say, hey, so
Who's they? Again.
the ones that are coming,
Okay.
the ones that we know about.
Yeah.
Hey, there's an enemy coming. Well, now you have the whole revelation set up where the militaries of the world are helping these people. Anyway, there's a big rabbit hole that you can get down. I don't think that we've seen any evidence for extraterrestrial life personally.
Yeah.
I don't know if we've seen anything more than what we can describe as black budget military ops. I think we all can admit that what we see right now, like the Raptor whatever it is, F-22 is the most advanced one, that's probably, 30 years ago technology. They have things that can perform and look crazy, but
I have a
they
question.
are ramping up.
I have a theory. imagine this. If you just because you mentioned that you're going to Black Ops, what happens if you run a Black Ops operation with special like chemicals and stuff to get these vehicles to fly a specific way? It crashes, and when it crashes, the pilots in there are acidically burned or got some sort of weird.
They look like aliens.
They look like freaking aliens. And then they get them and they go, oh shit, and they got to pull them back in. And people, when they see them, they'll be like, oh man, that guy was all messed up.
No. They know it's human. They do a DNA test and be like, yo. This
No. The people that would know him would be human, but the guys that weren't involved in the inner circle, they would say, but like, what is that?
Have you looked into the Roswell crash?
The Oswald crash?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the weather balloon that then turned into, the crash with small bodies and crazy metal substances that you could crunch up and then let go, and they would spring back to their original form. And then the next day it was a weather balloon, and we just all forgot about it. So there's no they. So where's they just roll in and take it away, and they release their statement, and everybody just goes on their merry way? Because people don't want to know this shit.
Why not? Yeah, they do.
No, they
people
don't.
Want to know.
No. They say that they want to. They don't want to know.
Yeah, but if it was real,
they
people
don't
get
want
scared.
to know. They don't want to know.
Yeah,
people don't even want to know about the spiritual demonic stuff that's out there.
Okay, on that note, I know you guys are gonna get mad at me, but like, I legit have to go to the bathroom.
Yeah.
Like that early into the episode.
How many beers did you have?
One, but it's like, look at how big it is.
Did you crush that already?
Dude, yeah.
Okay, you got keys. Just make sure you take your mic and just.
I'm gonna mute my mic. Sorry, guys. I apologize for everybody involved.
Yeah.
I'll be back. You guys.
You turned your mic off. Nobody can hear you now, so you might as well just go.
Okay. Yeah. I'll be back.
Okay. So yeah. So you were. What were you saying there about the?
Well, you were talking. About
let's look at that. Let's look up that. See where that passage is.
I turned my phone off. Did not be rude.
No. But what was?
So that's why I was saying that I couldn't just look it up.
Is it under Revelation?
Well, it gets talked about in Revelation, and it's also in the talk that Jesus gives in Matthew about what to expect in the end days. I did not expect this to go here, to be totally honest with you.
Well, we'll bring it back when Cameron. This gives us an opportunity.
Well, hey, I have no problem talking about this, but while we're looking this up, how funny is it that 1 million people think that they're going to storm Area 51?
Okay, yeah. So I haven't heard anything about this. Maybe
so you got to look this up.
Maybe you can fill me in on this. Like, what exactly is to expect there?
Well, I don't expect anything. I honestly think it's just an internet stunt. I think it came from this Bob Lazaar interview, and everybody's saying, "Hey, we want to go see what's up."
It'll be good for business because they have all of those.
Oh, it'll be good for Area 51. But since Area 51 became popular, let's be real, if there was anything there, it's not there anymore.
Well, no.
And the government has propped up the myth of Area 51.
I don't know, because like on the other side of it, they're saying that a lot of it is there's a lot of energy. What do you call it when the fault lines? Like there's weird energetic anomalies that are happening in the desert in those specific areas.
Matthew 24, sorry.
That's what I was looking at.
Matthew 24.
Watch out that no one deceives you. Matthew 24:4.
Take heed. But he warns of deception.
Many will come in my name, claiming I am Christ, and will deceive many. I think though that they're talking about the New Age stuff there, because the New Age stuff right now is like everyone's just like it's all about the whole shift between man. You can become God.
100%.
Your mind can be this, and you can control everything.
I agree with that, but that doesn't speak to what the Great Deception will be. And we're told that there's
that's a hell of a deception right there. Like people believing that they can basically control everything, and it puts everything, it takes everything out of God's control and puts it into man's control, and all of a sudden that's when the deception happens. Because as soon as you turn your back to God like that, the temptations become higher, and you're able to be flipped much easier.
And if you can convince the population about that could lead to everybody going to war. See, that's my sticking point. Is there something that has to happen that makes the armies of the world buy into this beast system?
Yeah,
I think the beast system is the is the deception.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe it all plays in. I'm not sure, but I don't think that there's aliens coming. So I think that Christians are going to have to make a choice.
Yeah.
Because I honestly think that we will see aliens.
It's also funny too, like you talk about like where it seeded the monkeys and all this stuff. I heard actually like a really good explanation and everything there, and it makes a hell of a lot of sense in terms of like they basically are suggesting that the monkeys came from us in terms of a inbreeding and a bestiality mixing. So what happens is like.
Do you remember Robot Chicken?
No.
Have you seen Robot Chicken? That like the old skit show? There was a skit show with E.T. where E.T. was just like the genetic off-put of that civilization, and they tried to kick him off the planet. The same sort of thing where they're just like the genetic.
Yeah, because like basically the way it was broken down is like if you look at DNA, we are in a dissension in terms of our DNA manipulation, because if you start off with Adam and Eve as being perfect beings, you can have them mate and you can have them continue to mate because the beings are perfect. But what happens is that as they keep continuing to mate, and their genetics are getting worse and worse and worse, which is why we no longer can mate with like our close cousins or anything like that, because if you do, you're more likely to pick up the genetic defaults from each other when you melt together, as opposed to like, you know, getting the two better genetics from off distant relatives, right? And so they're saying that, and then they explained it too, like, you know, like because Darwin's theory is about, you know, environmental, you know, survival of the fittest kind of thing. But like if you have, the way it breaks down is like if you have an A and B, capital A, capital B, kind of like DNA combination, and then you have like a female lower A and lower B, and then from those four you have a certain amount of combinations you can create. Capital A, a little B, you know, you could do A, you know, so you could do, and then those might, you know, if you look at it, a dog, that might create a short-haired dog, a medium-haired dog, a long-haired dog.
But they're all still dogs.
But they're all dogs. But what happens is when you...
That's my shot on evolution right there.
Yeah, but then what happens is that when you basically put that dog in a cold environment, the short-haired dog and the medium-haired dog may not survive in that environment, so then you end up with long-haired dogs. So like, yes, environment has something to do with it, but only because the genetics are still, those are the ones, that genetic combination is the one that survives the most.
But that viewpoint does not support Darwinism.
No, because there's never been a species, there's never been a time when a dog turned into a feline. That species never switched from one species to another.
In the whole observable universe, things never go from less complex to more complex.
It doesn't work that way. It goes from more complex.
We live in a degraded, and we see that genetically.
More complex to less complex.
So,
like, it's very rare that you see two ugly people make a really smoking hot, perfect body. Like, I don't even know if you even see that.
What's the definition of ugly, Steve Van Diest? I'm a little bit offended right now.
Is your microphone on?
Yep.
Yeah?
It's definitely on right now because I'm sitting in the seat that looks at the microphones and all of them are good.
Okay, good.
So, Steve Van Diest.
Okay, maybe not like genetically. You know what I'm saying? Like it's like the fact that you can take two genetics that are kind of got weird genetics to them, mix them together, and then get like a perfect genetic. You can't. Usually, two perfect looking people would create a perfect looking thing.
Okay, well,
or healthy. Let's change the word.
You have to define the word perfect.
Let's change that.
Healthy is the right way to say
healthy genetics.
What's
two
healthy
genetics.
What's the definition of healthy genetics?
You get two
effectively what he's saying is you can manipulate genes through the years in the way of dog breeding and horse breeding, whatever.
Yeah, how did we get to this?
You fucked off.
I had to go to the bathroom. That's a big ass.
We talked about aliens seeding apes to make humans.
Holy shit! And then you guys went down that.
And then I
go to the bathroom for 3 minutes, and then we're talking about aliens banging monkeys, and now we got humans.
Seeding monkeys.
We were on the process, or we were on the topic like when you were leaving.
Yeah. Well, okay. I keep going. Yeah.
And then we were talking about kind of evolution, and that's that's where we're at.
And that's where we're at.
Yeah.
That's where we're at.
Okay.
You have something to add to that?
To the evolution thing?
Yeah.
I don't know where we're standing at. I think things evolve. I think that things have to evolve in order to
But do
survive.
they evolve up or do they evolve down?
Well, there's a lot of definitions that have to be put in place. What's our definition of evolution?
Yeah.
Like, what's the definition of evolution?
Can you turn 2 poodles into a wolf?
Can you turn 2 poodles into a wolf?
Yeah, can you
No.
breed 2 poodles eventually into a wolf?
You can turn one poodle into a wolf over time using selective breeding with other dogs.
Well, other dogs, yeah.
Right?
But the,
Now,
the
here's
poodle
my
would
question.
just die if
Can
you
you
send it
turn
on
a
the Arctic.
poodle? Can you turn a poodle into a hippo?
Oh yeah, you're talking about just switching species, yeah.
Because evolution says
Yeah, this is
from
frog.
goo to you by the way of the zoo. You know,
What does it say?
From goo to you by way of the zoo.
Yeah,
So,
so basically
like-
you turn
like-
into a fish
like-
and then a fish got legs and then they turn into yeah. There's
So, like,
never
at what
been a
point did
time when they
fish
switch.
turn into a mammal?
There's never been a point where they
Okay,
actually
hold on one second.
switched
Is this a theory where you see that little like amoeba
everything's
turn
a
into
theory.
I know, and see.
It's all a theory. It's not. It's an unproved
They teach it
theory.
like
it's
it's
not a
truth.
hypothesis. Like a hypothesis is that the way? No, a hypothesis is.
It's not a law.
It's not a law.
They call it the
it's a
Darwinian
theory,
law, but
it's a theory, not a.
We really have to
not
get
a-
our facts straight on our definitions of things, because there's a very big difference between hypothesis
And a theory.
and a very big difference between theory and a very big difference between law.
It's a theory, but not a law. It's impossible.
But theory means that they proved it.
I don't know. I don't
No,
know.
no, no, no,
Mathematics
no.
is technically a theory.
All
1 plus
Yeah,
1
yeah.
is technically a theory.
all science.
A theory means it can be proven on paper.
No,
I don't know.
No,
No,
no.
you-
A
need to-
hypothesis.
you
A
need-
hypothesis is just an idea.
No, on
A theory is not disproven yet.
An educated guess. Yes.
A theory is not disproven yet. So we can have a theory about something and go through controlled measures and not find anything that says no. So we say, yes, this is a theory.
No. So
Until
I don't know.
There's
You guys
so
gotta
like-
get, you
so
guys
you
gotta
go-
get this shit straight.
So there's
because
that is-
relativity was a hypothesis until it was proven a theory.
it's
So-
only a theory because it hasn't been disproven. The whole point of
No, but
science
it was
is that
it
we
was, it
disprove
was
it.
proven mathematically is what he did. So then it
yeah,
turned
but
into a theory.
math is still a theory.
Yeah, he removed the ether. He didn't actually prove it, and that's a
Yeah.
different conversation. Let's not go into relativity, please.
I don't know enough about it. To
No,
speak
but
on it. all I know.
I don't
is
know.
that-
Like Nikola, like if you're going on that, where Nikola Tesla's like relativity, like he's against the relativity on the
he
aspect.
Most
hated,
people
he
were.
hated that stuff.
Michelson Morley were against relativity. Aries' failure disproved relativity.
Because
There's-
mathematics,
there-
you can
there's-
do anything mathematically. Like
Well, no.
Like
So these were
everything
physical.
infinity.
These were physical tests,
Mm-hmm.
and this is what Tesla said. They take physical tests. They want to disprove them, so they hide behind. They just add extra zeros to their theories until they make sense.
Yeah.
Right? Like if you want to talk about relativity, you want to talk about movement through space, that's a different conversation. But there are questions there too, like why do star maps from 3,000 years ago still work? We can navigate through the ocean with a map that was written by a sailor 2,000 years ago. Shouldn't there, like parallax when you drive with a car?
A parallax, yeah.
You know, so why don't we see any star parallax? Is there relative? Anyway, that's a different conversation. We're not going down that road. I don't know. We were on evolution.
Yeah, all I was asking was, do things actually evolve to survive? I think they do.
No, but
I think they learn.
I think they like there's. So what we're saying is that there's a combination. Like if the way we were talking about it with the dog is that like 2 dogs can create a short-haired dog, medium-haired dog, and a long-haired dog.
But they can't create
and
a
depending, depending on the environment they are,
I can agree with that. Yeah.
which dog would survive. So
I just
the
want-
long-haired
want-
dog would survive in the winter. Short-haired dog would survive in Mexico.
Did you see the orangutans learn how to spearfish?
I saw that actually. I saw a video of that. Yeah, they're chucking spears in the water. I just want to preface: I'm not an expert on this subject, and I'm not claiming to be. Right?
Wait, are we experts? I'm not an expert on this.
I'm not an
subject
expert
by
on
any
anything.
stretch.
Well,
We're
no, that's
just
what
having a
I'm
conversation.
just saying that because like I'm just going off of what I know, and I haven't studied this stuff long enough to be like actually put a definite conclusion on it. But from my observations,
We're asking questions though.
I know,
That's
I
what
know.
We're designed to you ask questions. and
yeah, we
science
are
is
asking
science.
questions, but we can't like I can't make a definite point being like this is exactly what's happening because I haven't studied this stuff long enough. And I'm just being totally honest with you guys, but I can see the possibility of two dogs making short-haired, medium-haired, long-haired,
Yeah.
and then the
on the
short
kind-
and medium dying because they die from cold, and the long ones surviving.
Based
I
on the
understand
environment,
that.
yeah.
Now, is that evolution or a mutation? What's the difference? You have
No,
to
that's
define
evolution.
that.
They call it, what do they call it? Like it's
Natural selection.
Natural selection
Yeah.
based on environment, right?
If you have 3 kids and one of them has a nut allergy and you live in the South where peanuts are a staple part of your
That kid's gonna
environment,
die.
that kid's going to die. And then the chances of you passing on a peanut allergy are less, right?
Yeah.
Because your kid's right. So
Yeah.
that's natural selection.
I understand
But that doesn't mean that your other 2 kids are going to be, I don't
Now,
know.
is natural selection, is that something we can even talk about these days?
I'm offended.
No.
No, I'm being totally honest.
Hold on.
Dude, if this is natural selection, we'd all, like a lot of us would be royally fucked.
Here's where that gets interesting is they still consider the theory of evolution pretty close to a law. They teach it in school. But I don't know if it's PC to even talk about it, first of all. And so I don't know how they reconcile that.
Talk about how so? Like talk about in schools or talk about in this setting?
If you're teaching people that natural selection defines the traits that are passed on,
Okay.
how do you reconcile that with modern PC culture? Is the first thing that I'm saying. As
I
far as
have
how you
no
teach
idea
it.
how they piece that together.
I
Because
don't
someone
know.
would be offended.
Right. But the second part of it is we've only ever seen interspecies change within the species.
What do you mean?
Like
A short-haired dog?
so
long? You don't see a dog becoming a
the
bird.
big example is the finches in the Galapagos Island.
That's the largest. That's the example.
They
with the
saw
beaks.
different beaks.
Yeah.
They're still finches.
Yeah.
They didn't even evolve beyond different species of birds, let alone outside of a genus. So how did I don't know if it's as concrete as everybody says it is, but you can't argue it because it's taught in school. Much like a lot of things.
I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. That now I'm piecing it together. So, the finches had the different beaks to get different sort of food sources. Correct?
Because the ones...
Which would have been natural
Right.
selection.
So-
That's what it would like the
and the ones that couldn't do it would have died off.
would have died off, and the ones that
Or,
did, and then their beaks would
or
just
were
get longer
forced to
and
go
longer
to
and
the
longer.
other islands
Yeah.
where they could get the food.
migrate and get the
Right.
food. So is this an evolution or is this a mutation? Like how are we defining that? Like what's a mutation and what's evolution? What's something evolving and what's something mutating?
No, they
to
always say
survive?
it's like a mutation. It's like when a black bear goes up into the winter, all of a sudden it's the bear that basically that was mutated with the white hair that had a better chance of surviving. Like it would be based on a mutation on the genetic code.
So are you trying to say that a black bear is a polar bear?
No, but hold on. You get the bear wrong, but Kodiak bears, which are northern BC.
Those are brown, aren't they?
Yeah.
Like
and,
the grizzly bear.
and polar bears are very close, genetically,
Yeah.
quite close.
I don't know.
And what they think is that when they got up into the more winterized climates, the bears with the lighter fur survive better.
Not only that,
So
but then their diet would change as well because they
Right.
would start eating different foods, which means they would start,
that's why they
would
have
just
that
evolve into
blue.
different things.
They have that blue tinge to their skin because they eat so much, I don't know, algae eating.
And
fish.
doesn't the white fur? They're hollow. They're
Designed to keep
Well, the same with huskies. Huskies. I used to breed huskies. They're hollow hair. They're hypoallergenic. It's not fur. It's hair.
It's hair, yeah, and it's hollow
weird.
for some reason, right?
Yeah, it's weird.
For oxygen
So-
or for light? I
Well,
can't remember.
no, because
Insulation.
it's insulation.
Because the
the
air
air,
insulates it.
air is a very good insulator.
Yeah, the body heat heats the air inside the fur, which then keeps them
Yeah,
warm.
but they're hollow, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I don't know. We're down this evolution rabbit hole.
Oh, well, let's take it there. It's a podcast where nothing is safe. We're talking about evolution. And we're supposed to be talking about Bob Lazaar. We'll bring it back to Bob Lazaar at some point.
Well, this is where it started. Is they want to say, not they, but popular New Age opinion. That's how we got here. Says that aliens seeded apes, and that's why we're here. So then,
Who says that? I've never heard that in my life.
That's a massive movement. That's a New Age movement. But to me, that just kicks the can down the road.
Yeah.
If we're talking about a creator, I guess is what I'm saying.
What? Who started this?
Well, this is what you and I were texting about this earlier. It's easier to talk about aliens than it is to talk about
A creator?
Creator
Right.
God.
But-
yeah, what the fuck?
So if you believe in aliens seeding the planet, which is, look, man, you look up the History Channel. What do you see? Ancient aliens.
That's all it is.
Ancient aliens. Though when they talked about gods in those worlds, in those stories, they weren't talking about gods. They were talking about aliens and Anunnaki and whatever.
The Sumerians. And,
right. So you don't believe in God, which is fine, but you believe that something else came here and seeded us. So you're just kicking the can down the road, because then who created that thing? And then who created that thing? And who's that famous atheist, like the big atheist?
Oh, then at the end he's just like, you just have to have faith. I remember that. I remember that. I saw them like his whole thing just turned into like, you have to have faith.
It's Stein talking to him. What's his name? Ben Stein?
Bill Nye?
Ben Stein is talking to. I can't think of his name. He's wrote books about like
I'll pull it up, man.
The death of God and whatever. And he's like, so you don't believe in a God? And he's like, no, I believe that we were seeded by aliens. And he's like, well, then who created the aliens? And he's like, well, how would we ever even want to know that? He just kicks the can down the road. So the whole alien thing is kind of a little loopy in my opinion.
So here's
I don't believe in aliens. We're going to say that right now.
Okay, what's your definition of an alien?
In what respect?
Because like technically, someone coming to this country from
is an alien.
Oh no.
What's your
definition? The actual word alien means that they're not extraterrestrial. Something that's not from this planet is what you're saying.
I'm going to say this, and I shouldn't. I do not believe in that thing. Well, that was the alien.
Oh, the gray.
Yeah,
the grays.
I don't think that we have been visited by life from another planet. I really don't.
How do you know? We've had this thought. How do you know that that's not humans in the future coming back in time?
How do you know that that's not humans that?
Because think about it, like in the direction
that
we're
junk,
going right now.
First of all,
what's that?
They have no junk.
Why would you need it? Everyone's becoming asexual. Lately, everyone's basically being genetically modified. Everyone's being genetically grown. Petri
now we're talking about CRISPR,
right? But I'm just saying.
4 kids in Russia had just got. They're not kids yet, but 4 pregnancies in Russia just got approved for CRISPR gene editing technology. We're gonna have our first 4
See, that's bad.
It happened in China, but it was like
Can you tell me
frowned
about
upon.
It? Let's go.
You know what CRISPR is?
No, you're educating me. Is this
okay? So CRISPR is
CRISPR? CRISPR?
Yeah, like not the chips, like not the is it a chip or a cracker?
Yeah.
Not CRISPRs, but like
cracker.
CRISPR.
I'm offended. Yeah.
Yeah. Is it a cracker?
I don't know. The word cracker offends me.
Is it a chip or a cracker?
Cracker offends. I'm offended. He's saying cracker.
Yeah. Crackers like cheese, you know.
Well, cheese offends me too. Okay.
No. So CRISPR, CRISPR.
Yep. Vegan cheese.
It's a. I have no idea how it works. I have no idea how they plan on going about it, but it's a way of editing genes in the womb, is what I've read.
Eugenics. The Nazis were doing that for a long time. Were they not?
Yeah, that's.
China, they do that all the time too.
But the Nazis were doing it via natural selection. Like, just to go back real quick.
We're on
to
rabbit hole.
Hold on.
We gotta tie
Just
it together.
Everyone's like, we're like on Alex Jones' podcast where he's like, I can't follow you, man. I have no idea where you're going.
Our poor audience is like, what the fuck's going on?
One more thing on evolution, and then we'll get off that train forever.
We don't have to, but it's just like we need to tie this back.
Look at the book.
We gotta end these finishing. Like we gotta finish.
Look at the book. Read the book after The Origin of Species, written by Charles Darwin. He wrote 2 books. There's Origin of Species and then another one.
What's it called?
I'll have to look it up. It's a eugenics book to the nth degree, and is hyper racist. And if anybody read that book and seriously looked at his theories, they would be like, ooh. I'm what?
Just keep.
I just yell.
He's just getting really loud.
Sorry.
It's really loud? Okay. Steve Andis will fix it. We're actually going to switch spots here. Stevie, I'll let you.
No, you're good. Talk, buddy.
Sure? Yeah.
Okay, tell us the story.
Stevie, you're showing everyone your ass. Eh?
Yeah, I don't want to tell that story at all. Anyway, yeah, just check out Charles Darwin's other books. He was a big eugenicist, and then we'll go from there.
We'll go from eugenicist? That's wild. Like,
well, no, you were talking about Nazi eugenics, so
yeah,
you can pick that back up.
Dude, I don't want to pick that back up. I just know that they were...
Which Darwin?
Charles
Charles Darwin?
Charles Darwin, yeah. They were just able to dictate people's genes in order to give them certain traits.
But they did that through natural selection. They just killed babies. Like, it was fucked. Like,
yeah, but then that spawned into modern day eugenics where you have like designer babies where you can be like, I want blue eyes, red eyes, purple eyes, green eyes.
Right. So that's the thing with CRISPR. That's the
thing
with CRISPR. So
they can figure out who has cancer or not.
If you could pay for your baby to be naturally athletic, would you?
Yeah.
You would.
Yeah, why not?
Well, because messing with genes seems odd to me.
It seems a little bit odd, but I mean, like, where do we where do we draw the line? Because we mess with that shit all the time.
Let's say that you're morally against it, but he's not, and now you know that his kid is going to outperform your kid. His kid's going to get a scholarship and yours isn't.
Yeah, you know what? I'm going to kick him in the nuts for the rest of my life. Because fuck him and his kid. I mean, like, I can't get mad at that.
So 4 of these babies are currently being processed in Russia.
Okay, and is this in a petri dish or is this in a woman? In the womb.
Yep.
Yeah, and they're being processed.
Yep. Am I too low now?
No, I think Cameron's mic's turned off.
For how long?
I don't know, just now.
Like that?
Yeah, you guys are good. I'll figure it out. Because he's in...
You should take the live down in case you got to edit this out.
Live's fine.
Yeah.
No, we don't have to edit. Do you need to edit it?
I don't think so. Why, do I?
No, you're okay.
I don't know. You said that you were going to make sure that we were...
Yeah, no.
You got to stay on path here, buddy.
You're the one who's
switch your
going
spots,
off,
man.
Yeah, we're switching spots?
Yeah. Oh, you fucked this all up, bro. You can't be in the audio section, man.
Ah, see, he's
back now. He
he's
just fucked up his thing. He's just not.
Well, I mean, the mic's a little wild, Stevie.
Yeah, you're in the wrong spot.
Yeah. We got to get these hardwired in, Steve Endies.
Yeah, we'll get these hardwired in.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead. Sorry, you were saying?
He was saying.
You were saying?
Dude, the only thing that I was saying is, we were talking about eugenics, and I'm trying to bring this whole thing back to Bob Lazaar, and I don't know what rabbit hole you guys went down when I went to the washroom.
So we started on Bob Lazaar.
Yeah.
And I was saying that the technology is really cool, but what's really important is the presence of where the technology came from.
Okay.
So they said that they had 9 ships. So what does the world do with that, and how do you... Because that would crush religion.
I don't think so.
I don't think that would crush religion.
I don't think it would crush religion. Most people who are religious actually have experienced something.
Yeah, but you're talking aliens, he's talking demons. Very different thing. Extremely different.
No, I think they are like the interdimensional
he doesn't
alien.
believe in interdimensional. You do.
Well, no, not necessarily. I don't know where everything is. I don't know. I live my life very...
Listen, this is the way, and see if I can explain it to you, because we were kicked out of the garden. Okay? We're kicked out of the garden. So we can't see...
What's the garden? For the audience, what's the garden?
The Garden of Eden.
Okay, there's 95% of the people don't believe in that.
Yeah, but anyways, us as humans...
What do you mean anyway? You can't discard that.
Well, let me explain it. You want me to explain it, or you don't want me to explain it?
Explain it.
Okay.
Explain the Garden of Eden then.
So we as human beings, because we were given free choice and free will, and we made a bad choice, and we basically...
What's the bad choice?
Well, we were deceived, and we tried to...
By who and how?
By the devil.
Okay.
By devil, which needed to be seated. Devil needed to be here in order, because you cannot experience good without evil. You need the two of them in order for it to actually even have good.
And you're talking yin and yang?
The yin and yang, you need that. That's how everything works.
You're talking light, dark, good, evil.
Good, evil, cold, hot, all that stuff. The polar opposites. Everything right now is in complete balance with each other. But the only way it can be in complete balance with each other is if you have the opposite side. So what happens is...
Does that work with evil?
With which?
Do you need equal parts evil to have good?
Yes.
So I agree with light, dark. You don't have a shadow without a light.
Yeah.
I agree with that.
In order to have choice, you
need to have the option.
Correct.
It doesn't need to be an equal balance.
No, but it is. It is an equal balance, but it's not equal. Good always seems to be off a little bit. That's why everything is in constant motion and constant change.
Interesting.
So everything's in constant movement and constant flux. If it was perfectly balanced, you'd be at a stalemate. And because everything's in constant movement and constant flux.
So who do you have the leg up? Good
it's
or
always
evil?
good. Good always wins.
It's always good.
Always good.
All
Good
the
always
wars,
wins.
the abortions, the death.
Isn't good subjective at this point? Isn't evil subjective? And I'm just speaking from an objective standpoint.
It's either
for the audience.
And everybody knows most people have that inner conscious or whatever. You either doing good You're either working towards God or you're working towards the devil. And even if you don't even believe in the devil, you're working for the devil because you turn your back towards God. So that's
but there's like a lot of people in the world don't believe in either of those things.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. The devil doesn't give a shit whether you believe in him or not. He doesn't care. If you don't believe in him, you won. You won because now you're basically working for yourself, which means that you now took the choice of that you can become a god. You've now made that decision that you are now one of the angels who've fallen from grace. And if we're here to basically build God's kingdom on earth, then our choice has to be to work for him, not for ourselves. But there's a third of the angels that basically turned and followed Lucifer to basically create their kingdom on earth based on their image, not God's image, which is different, which is what causes all of this flux and fighting.
I agree with a lot of what you said. I don't think that good and evil need to be in equilibrium. I feel like right now we're in a very evil's
winning
drastically. I don't think so.
I think it is
massively. I think as everything becomes darker, also the light is also becoming brighter.
Tell me where it's getting brighter.
Like the brightest churches are Joel Osteen, whose prosperity gospel is still people's
money.
Dude,
you have to. There's so many people that are undercover that you don't see.
Oh, and that's very true.
You don't see them.
And the people that I follow are just like my favorite. My favorite Sunday morning listen is a guy named John Haller, who's from a small church in Ohio, and that's what he resonates with me. I was lucky enough to come across his work, but what I don't think that evil is. Sorry, I don't think that good is the predominant force.
I think it's in balance, but just not full balance. It's just off a little bit. So similar to that yin and yang thing, right? So when you're surrounded by a bunch of evil, a small amount of good people can balance that evil out. And the same thing is when there's a lot of good, a small amount of darkness can corrupt that good. If you look at the police force, the majority of the police force are there to protect and to serve. But then there's a small number of corrupt ones that ruin it for the rest of them, right? And I think it works like that in all situations where when things go awry, there's always someone that was placed in a position that's going to make the right choice and going to create a big rift for everyone else, and make that moral choice. So at that point, there's nothing to worry about, What's the stress?
It's a fair point. I don't really know how to answer that.
Yeah, I don't even know how to add to that.
No. Yeah, we really went down a rabbit hole there.
Hey, let's bring it back into the fact that we have a million people.
How do we bring it back from there? We went off eugenics. We went off here. We went off that. We went on some crazy tangents there.
Some crazy tinfoil.
Okay, I guess
some tinfoil chat. Okay, can you pass me my water here? I need to. I'm parched.
Are we doing tinfoil hat stuff now?
Dude, this whole thing's a tinfoil hat right now.
No, because we talked about how to interpret. Look, if the alien agenda is there, as a Christian, you're left with a choice. You can reconcile it, you can leave your faith because of it, or you can trust your faith in spite of it. That was the point of our conversation.
Yeah.
And any one of those, I don't think that those are defining aspects in the faith. I feel like you can make your own way. My concern is that people will turn away because in the face of seeing a what's that Steven Spielberg movie? Close Encounters of the Third Kind?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
In the face of that, I feel like people will turn their back.
Really? I find
really
that when people are more scared, when people are terrified, who do they turn to? God, help me. That's people who don't follow God on a regular basis. When they get terrified, the first thing that they do is go, please help me.
Think that logically through.
Yeah.
So, where are these people in the Bible?
Which people?
The ones in the thing that we're talking about. In the ship, in Close Encounters of the Third... You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's a movie, though.
I know, but if we're faced with that, how do you reconcile that with the fact that none of this is mentioned in your in any of the major religions, the Quran, the Bible.
They're all based from the same, the Torah, though. The Quran came from the Torah. They're all in the same, they all talk about the same thing. They all talk about Moses. They all talk about...
but they don't talk about alien life.
They don't.
That's what I'm saying.
They all
I
talk
see
about
what you're saying with
how
they'll
you
talk about the
reconcile
spirit.
that.
They talk about all the spiritual stuff.
Yeah, but he's talking aliens. You're talking spirits.
Yeah.
In a push for New Age, when that shows up, why wouldn't everybody just turn? You can be a god in your own right, do whatever you want to do.
That's what they're teaching right now.
That's what they're
anyway.
Ignore that
teaching
old
right now.
book, and then these people are showing you that, you know, hey, they seeded you, man.
Okay, listen.
They're-
How do you know this
It's
isn't going to
dangerous.
happen? Is
It's
that
very
like
dangerous.
that
A lot of susceptible people
aliens, these aliens are not like, because you have the demons that are here are embodied ones,
This is a fucked up podcast.
right? The embodied ones. So the demons are the embodied ones based from the Nephilim, right? So they have no bodies. They try to get into our
Are we going to get
vessels.
into Nephilim?
So they try to get into our vessels,
boy.
right? And basically break down our vessels.
I didn't know
So what do you think the Nephilim are?
The Nephilim are the crossbreeds.
So the Revelation 6 verse, which talks about the Nephilim, is angels.
Dude, I
breeding
read
with-
the whole thing of Enoch.
Right.
I know the whole thing.
Right. Okay. So what are they saying on there? So if you read Enoch, then you know
Yeah.
about the Watchers that got locked up.
The Watchers. So the Watchers are the fallen ones,
So
not
are-
all of them, because you still have like
But are the Watchers the...
the Watchers are the sons of men. So they're the angels. They're the Watchers supposed to watch over Adam and Eve. But some people are saying that the Watchers were like the Anunnaki and all that other stuff, but not the angels. But the angels were the ones that were here watching over, and they fell in love with the daughters of man. They fell in love with them, and they started taking them on as wives. And they started teaching them all of the stuff, root cutting, magic, spells, like our language.
also
Language
bred-
is a force of spells.
They also bred them.
They bred
They bred with them.
Yeah, and so what happened was they had offspring, which were the Nephilim, who were not from the heavenly body or the earthly body,
Which
so they
actually
couldn't
makes
go anywhere.
it makes Greek mythology make a lot more sense if you think about the Nephilim being real.
Yeah, and like
and
Hercules, and all of those other
All of these like demigods,
the
and also the
demigods.
Titans.
the Titans. Yeah,
It makes more sense. Like they're both talking about the same sort of thing.
Yeah.
But those people were locked away for 70 generations.
which ones?
The Watchers.
Okay,
Or sorry, 700 generations. I don't know this well enough. I've read Enoch once. But that timeline works out to right around the Industrial Revolution, if Enoch is to be believed. So then they get let go, and all of a sudden our technology spikes, and our ability to do things spikes, and our ability to kind of believe in ourselves and not rely. And
Wild.
then-
Is that what you're thinking? That the Watchers got released at the same time as the Industrial Revolution, and then we're making tanks?
It says,
and-
as in the days of
industry?
Noah, they were genetically impure, which we're seeing CRISPR now. They were technologically sound enough that they were just eating and drinking and partying and marrying. It doesn't talk about toil in those days. They were very relaxed. I don't know. I don't really know, but if we're talking about, that's why I said, oh boy, are we going down this road?
Yeah.
Because that's an interesting, like the Nephilim are an interesting and seldom touched on biblical topic.
yeah, and they took it out of the canon, and they only have like one or two lines that
Well,
talk about
Daniel
it.
is told, lock these things up until the end. And then the Dead Sea Scrolls all of a sudden
And who's
show up.
to say that when they talk about the earth, because they're locked in. What painting is that? Where it talks about hell. Whose painting was that? Dante's painting.
Dante's like
Dante.
7 layers.
Dante's
of-
Seven
Inferno?
layers of hell. Dante's Inferno.
Yeah.
But it has all the 7 layers of hell, where like they've all been locked up and stuff like that, and then they maybe that's when. And then in Revelation they talk about how they come up from
the bottomless
the
pit.
bottomless pits.
And that's where Apollyon, the Antichrist, comes from.
Apollo.
Well, the Antichrist is named once in the Bible. It says, and he is also named Apollyon, and he comes from the bottomless pit. So everybody that thinks it's Obama or some, Erodin or whoever, no, it says very clearly. But Apollo, if you want to look at ancient mythology, is the same as Osiris. I think it's Osiris. They're all
What was he? He was like the Jupiter god or something like that.
right.
No, the
so
moon.
The moon god.
If you believe that we had one language and then that language was confounded, if you believe that, if you believe in the Tower of Babel,
Which is
story.
in Göbekli Tepe.
Right.
Yeah.
If you believe in that, then you can believe that the same person had 20 different names, right? Like Gilgamesh had a ton of different names. Gilgamesh was probably the same person as, who was that hunter?
Achilles? No.
No. The first true god. Anyway, it'll come to me. If you believe that people have different names, then Apollyon could just be referring to whoever that.
You're saying they all coincide with each other, and they're all kind of the same, like Osiris, Apollyon, and.
Well, it's like if you look at Isis and Ishtar, they seem to be the same person.
Same thing. Yeah. Are you talking about Roman sort of stuff and Greek mythology, and they're just the same with different names?
One description explaining everything.
Okay.
With just different languages talking about who and what it was.
Have you ever watched? I shouldn't have.
Based on the Genesis 6 experiment.
Mm-hmm.
What's the Genesis? Genesis.
In Genesis 6, it talks about angels breeding with the son, with the
angels,
and then it says that those offsprings were the renowned men of the day.
Yeah.
So if we're talking about those offsprings being the actual renowned men of the day, who else was around? Hercules, Zeus. Like there's the Titans, all of the mythology.
Same time.
Actually, kind of falls in line with that same sort of idea.
Now, is mythology real, or is that what is that? Like, was Zeus a real person, or is that a myth?
Now, I have no idea, but if somebody like that existed, would people of those days have worshipped them?
Full on, yeah. They'd be like, this guy's chucking lightning bolts. I would have worshipped him. I'd be fuck yeah, this guy's dope.
Talk about sports heroes from 50 years ago, and you'll hear massive exaggerations, right? So we don't know if anybody was actually throwing lightning bolts, right? Because these stories get built up over time. But if they're talking about somebody who was, I don't know, extraordinary, maybe. I don't know.
So there's this. So if you're talking about Zeus and
you're talking about like Hermes and all those
all
guys?
of them. Yeah. So there was what they believe is that there was a utopia on the earth where everything was a utopia, and then those intergalactic beings were coming through, and they had to close off the portal, and now because they were coming in through the portal because they were before able to go to heaven and back. So it was kind of like they were able to travel back and forth.
Who is this?
Yeah, what information is this?
This is the story. So
what story?
So this is out there.
What do you mean? Like
let me just tell you the story.
It just exists. So
it just exists. So then what ends up happening is that as this portal was coming in and this war began, the war of the Titans and all this stuff, something evil started to come through the portal, and it had to be sunk or it had to be closed. So they talk about whole Atlantis, sinking of Atlantis, right? They talk about the sinking of Atlantis. It's the closing of the
where we started with.
It's the closing of the portal, right? It's the closing of the portal, and Zeus makes the call. But Poseidon was the one who actually caused the flood, and caused the earthquakes. So Zeus makes the call, and Poseidon was the one that actually sunk everything, and sinking it was really just closing the portal and trapping everybody in this realm. All those angels were trapping in here.
Is that a Greek mythology story?
Yeah, what story is this? We need to close some of these rabbit holes off. Okay, I'm going to take this way back. We're going to touch base in this. Okay, so CRISPR. Tell me about that. Let's close it off.
Okay, CRISPR. It's a gene editing software.
Okay.
Period.
Done.
The big question about it is the morality of it and whether or not it's a controlled level of eugenics that could really allow income to define future success in a way broader way than it does right now.
And are you for or against
Against.
Okay, so that's closed. CRISPR's done. Okay, it's a gene editing software where people can edit their genes of their babies in the woman's womb and just be like, I want my baby to do this, and this, and then he's going to be super smart and become a billionaire.
It's like a build the character in an RPG.
In Sims.
Yeah.
Okay, so CRISPR's like Sims, and where's this, Russia?
Well, CRISPR is like
it's a program, but where are they doing it primarily?
I just read about 4 in Russia.
Okay, so
there was a doctor in China that did it
doing
unknowingly, and he got caught, and they're throwing him in jail.
Okay, so Chinese,
and those
Russian,
babies have not been born yet.
Because they didn't have permits.
Yeah.
Okay.
And those babies have not been born yet. So I guess there's 6 on the planet still in utero.
Okay, so there's 6 babies in utero from a CRISPR program, which will allow them to be way better than they ever would be if they were born naturally.
They're like super babies. Is what you're
I
trying to
guess
say.
we'll see.
Okay, we'll see what happens with
They
them.
could be
There's
fucking...
or there could be mutation, like weird mutation.
Like, what if the genetic has... their genetics have a clock that just starts to break down over time, and they're...
We don't know.
We have no idea.
Okay, so we're going to close that, but leave it a little bit open-ended and say, let's see what happens. We'll revisit this in 6 months.
Right.
Okay, cool. So CRISPR, done. All right, I'm closing the door on that. All right, evolution. All right, Darwin, what's going on with the finches? What's happening with that? Is evolution real? Yes or no? Do things evolve or do they not?
You're
It's a
putting me
theory.
on the spot here.
I'm putting everyone on the spot because we got to close the rabbit hole.
It's a theory. It's a theory.
I don't
It's a theory.
think that you can't do the same clinical studies on a biological theory as you can on a metaphysical theory or on a mathematical theory. You can't just theoretically run a gambit of 1,000 years using an orangutan and see
tests?
what happens. So I don't think that we'll ever know that. I think that behaviorally, we've seen, like I said, there's orangutans fishing with spears. Like we've seen behavioral changes, but we've never seen one species go to another. So, for me personally, we've never seen...
Is there documentation of this? One species turning into another?
Never.
No,
There's
no.
There's no documentation.
I'm sincerely asking a question.
Yeah,
No.
looked up. You can look it up. There's never been documentation
So this
of
is all
a
a
species
theory.
change.
Yeah.
There's never been documentation
So
of one species turning into another
So if
species.
a theory is something that's like deemed true, we have to prove it wrong, correct? So is evolution a theory?
But we can't. How do you prove it wrong?
I have no idea. I'm asking you the
Can't.
question.
So the theory of evolution relies on the theory of the Big Bang. Lots of time, lots of things changing over time. Both of those things to me do not, I've never seen, our natural world does not go from simple to complex. It doesn't. It goes from complex to decay. That's the way of the world. That's what we see. That's what we can observe. Now, if modern science does not want to take those things into account, I can't prove it otherwise.
Yeah.
So we're teaching it in school. It's a theory. You're right. A theory is right until proven wrong, and I don't know how you would ever prove that wrong.
So talk to us about carbon dating, and then talk to us about the theory of
Carbon dating it has a half-life decay that they can't. It's all guesswork based on the rocks. They use different.
I
Types
don't know
of
enough
dating.
about it. I'm asking the question.
Here's the interesting thing about carbon dating. So carbon dating has this weird little quirk where when there's a long gap of time, carbon dating works.
No.
Works
Let him talk,
because
let him
we
talk.
can't prove it.
Let 'em talk.
Oh.
It works.
Oh, 'cause-
But you can take a penguin that just died and they'll carbon date it and it's 860 years old. Well, I know it's not 800. It just died. So if you really look into carbon dating, I don't want to be known as the conspiracy guy that thinks that it's all crazy, but carbon dating, I don't think that it would hold up in court based on all of the things that we can show that go the other way.
Okay.
You can carbon date a tree and have it show up to be 1,400 years old, and you know it's not.
Yeah.
So I feel like carbon dating is a very convenient...
Loophole out
They use the number when it makes sense, and they ignore it when it doesn't.
when it doesn't.
Like it. So I don't think that humans and dinosaurs existed at the same time. I don't. But there's a place in the States where there's dinosaur prints and human footprints, both fossilized in the same layer.
Do you know what? It's written in the Bible too when you talk about the behemoth.
Great
They
lizards. I know,
talk about the behemoth.
I know.
The behemoth was known.
I
was
just didn't
thought
want to go down this
as
rabbit hole right now. I just didn't want to touch this.
as the
But
brontosaurus, right?
But they exist. Like, so science has this great way of just ignoring the things that don't fit, right? If 90% of the things fit this hypothesis, then they make it a theory.
Do you feel religion does the same thing? Does religion do something that doesn't fit?
Well, a lot of people succumb to exegesis, which is where you read
Certain
piece
parts
of
and only
scripture.
take them?
No, you read a bit of scripture and try to force it into your worldview. That's why I'm very hesitant to talk about anything scripturally when it comes to what we see, because we really don't know. It's easy for me to look at something and pigeonhole a piece of scripture to fit that.
Well, we're talking about even tattoos. Like, we're not supposed to have ink, apparently.
But trust me, I know.
Yeah.
But we have this thing where, like,
There's context as well, right?
people can grow, right? And, I don't know.
Yeah.
Not that I'm done getting ink though.
I know what you're saying. I'm just saying there's people who take biblical verses and only fit them to. So I'm trying to play both sides here. There's scientists who only use science to let them fit their certain needs and then discard the other thing. There's religious people who only what's going on?
Yo, I think you're sitting on your mic, Cameron.
Hello?
Yeah, you're good.
Check. Okay. Yeah. There's religious people who only use religious narratives, religious texts to fit their certain needs, but then don't have explanations for other things. That's all I'm trying to say.
Do you know who Robbie Davidson is?
No.
So he's a local guy, actually. He's and we're not going to go down on this subject, okay? But he's a local guy who is most widely known for putting on flat Earth conferences.
We're not talking. No. We're not talking about it.
I know that we're not. But he got his start in what he calls scientism, and again, not saying that I agree with it or that I don't agree with it. I have watched a couple of his scientism documentaries, and what he talks about is exactly that. So, do we believe things because we're told that they're fact without any real proof? Has science become the new kind of backing religion where you believe people in a white lab coat just because you're told that they're smarter than you,
yeah,
and that that it's theory based on ad hoc theory based on ad hoc theory, that we just haven't, like, so what happens when we encounter that thing that disproves that first theory? So if we find information that the Big Bang didn't happen, well, what happens to evolution? You see what I mean? So that it's more of a system built up over time. His name's Robbie Davidson. He's actually a pretty big YouTuber. He's pretty interesting. We don't need to go down the.
Yeah, we're not going to go down that rabbit hole.
And no interest.
I don't want to. Yeah, I don't want to either.
But the whole scientism thing versus religion thing is pretty interesting.
Yeah.
Whether or not they're latching a hold of things and kind of basing. Has science become a faith-based question? I guess is the real question.
Yeah. No, I see exactly what you're talking about. So we just closed off. Which rabbit hole did we just close off first? We closed off CRISPR.
We closed off evolution.
We closed off evolution. And now we're talking about the Holocaust. I'm kidding.
What?
I'm joking.
Jeez.
I'm totally kidding. I'm joking.
Yeah, just offended everyone.
Now we're
getting shut down.
Now we're getting shut down. The whole thing's demonetized.
Yeah, demonetized.
Yeah. Every sponsor that we don't have, just shut the whole thing down. But don't look at me like that, Justin.
I almost said something very offensive.
Yeah. Don't. Yeah. No, it's pretty wild. But tying this all back, we're gonna go to Bob Lazaar now. So, do you, yes or no, believe that Bob Lazaar is telling the truth? Yes or no? Where's he at? Where's Bob Lazaar at?
Well, I don't think it's a yes or no question. I don't know whether or not there's technology that we don't know about right now. I don't think that his story's credible. I don't think that he just.
And why is that? Why don't you think his story's credible?
I don't think that he haphazardly took 7 buddies out to Area 51 in the 80s and got a slap on the wrist. I just don't. Like.
Oh, when they were like viewing like.
Yeah. So he knew the flight schedules. He just took his buddies, like.
So you thought he would have got either killed, shut down,
arrested.
Not
killed, just arrested. Like,
well, they're allowed to shoot people.
Yeah, but it's like, so he says that he was surrounded by guards.
Yeah, but he's also an employee of that place, or was an employee of that place.
Is.
He's not anymore. He's defected.
Oh, so sorry. At the time he was.
At the time he was. Like, I don't know. Have you ever been an employee of a place and done something you're not supposed to do, and then just get a slap on the wrist? We all have. Just like, yo, you shouldn't do that.
Yeah, but not when it's like that level of top secret.
Yeah.
He's like he's the only person on the planet that has one up on Hillary Clinton. As far as abusing privileges and getting away with it.
Yeah.
Like, he took his buddies out to go watch a light show of alien craft floating around, and they laughed about it and then felt bad for the guy, so they showed him that they discovered during wiretapping that his wife was cheating on him. Like, that seems weird to me.
Yeah.
That whole I don't think that they would allow that to float around unless they wanted to. Unless they wanted it to.
But
that story wouldn't have gotten out unless they wanted it to.
If you listen to his story, he talks about that they fed him disinformation on purpose.
But he says he doesn't know.
That's what I'm saying.
He says that they could have been feeding him this.
He has no idea. So
he has no idea.
Maybe none of it. Yeah, that's a fair point. I mean, there's half truths. And
I think that he was.
So what? Okay, if he's not telling the truth, what is his purpose and what is he doing? Like, what is the gain for him if he's actually not telling the truth? Is he making? Well, how is he monetizing this? Or is he just trying to get famous?
I don't think he wants to be famous, man. That guy doesn't want to be famous at all.
Yeah, no. So I'm asking Justin McGloin.
He talks a lot about this investigative journalist that spurred him into saying something.
Yeah, and it seemed like he was more saying it so that way he doesn't get killed, because like he wants people to know what's going on. That's why he was telling his friends.
Or some guy told him to fabricate a story. He fabricated a story. Now he can't go back on it. This Bob Lazaar can't be like, I was just kidding, guys. But it blew up, and now it's an inconvenience, so he gets super stressed out.
Look, and he's like, fuck.
You don't get stressed out by telling the truth.
Yeah, you do. Yeah,
you do if you think you're going to get killed.
Get you murdered,
if that truth's going to get you killed.
He's not murdered now.
Dude, you can't. You can't murder him.
You can't. He's on Netflix.
Well, you can't murder him. He becomes a martyr at that point. You murder him, and then it's like, okay, yeah, it makes sense. Same thing with John Todd. John Todd was the exact same thing. He went out and spoke against certain things. He was a guy who was part of a witchcraft family, and he was the one who was part of the largest distribution and production company of music in all of North America. And then he ended up defecting, and they filled him up with drugs, and he disappeared into oblivion, and then ended up dying. No one knows where he ended up. Right? Same with the author of Behold a Pale Horse.
But he didn't become a martyr.
Yeah, he did.
No, because that conversation ended right there.
No, it didn't.
Bob Lazaar in 1988 could have been offed. If Bob Lazaar was talking about real shit in 1988, 1989, if Bob Lazaar had seen the things that he had seen...
He wasn't. He only came clean now, did he not?
No. He's been talking about this shit for years. It's just that now it's really getting pushed. Before the internet, you heard this guy on Art Bell's radio station coast to coast. Like that's what you heard. You know Art Bell?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So it's just that the medium's different now. But they would have. You can't just allow somebody who worked on an anti-gravitational device and saw these things just to roll around casually. That's not how that stuff works. Like, I don't think it is anywhere.
I'm listening to what you're saying.
It makes sense so that they feed him disinformation to make him sound like he's crazy lunatics, because you're like, some of this stuff is not real. I don't know. What did they tell me was right? What is fake?
So where did they get 9 alien craft?
I don't know. They crashed? I have no idea, man. I'm not there. I'm not in Area 51. And then this is a great segue into the million people who want to storm Area 51.
And see what's there.
What the fuck's going to happen there?
Before we get there, do you believe that we, as a human species, possess 9 extraterrestrial crafts?
That's humans. That's human species and U.S. government are two separate things.
But do you believe that... No, but they're not, because as big as the U.S. government is, it's still a part of the species. Do you believe that anywhere on this planet, human beings are breaking down, let's say, 1?
I could see that. I could see that as being. Yeah, I could see that as being real. Is the Earth flat or is there a dome around it?
We're not talking about.
Okay, I'm just saying. I'm just saying, because like that's a. I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole, but that's a key point to this whole thing.
It's pretty fucked up that there's a fucking floating rock in the sky. Throws me off every time. I'm like, you look at it, I'm like, there's a fucking rock in the sky.
We can't go down that. But if there's a fundamental
belief, it doesn't make sense. It's based on physics. That doesn't make sense. Now I'll have to find the article but it doesn't make sense. It's like bumblebees that shouldn't fly. Like it's there.
Physically, it kind of makes sense.
It's there. We see it.
It's a fucking rock.
Like at this stage, if we're talking about gravity, they should have done this. No, like it's fucking massive.
I think you're forgetting that
you got a mic.
It's also floating. Like it's also orbiting.
Right.
There's also the centripetal force of it spinning around the Earth that's pulling it away from the Earth.
Plus, and it's also in like a form of like liquid water. But even then, like, you're right. Like, how come it's like
an ether?
Like an ether. Yeah.
But Einstein's relativity disproved the ether.
So there's nothing there?
There's nothing apparently.
But it's like floating like water. Like the way that the thing works is no different than like blowing a bubble in this air. Like
when you talk about ether,
it goes into a sphere.
What are you talking about? Are you talking about like the ether from Thor: The Dark World, or like what?
No. So before Einstein, the way that they explained space was that there had to be
A medium.
something.
You're talking like dark matter?
No. So
just ether, something. It's held in something.
Yeah. So it was, and they called it the ether.
Like this right here, ether.
And then there were experiments done, physical experiments that tried to measure the movement of the ether, and they couldn't find it, which either meant that the ether didn't exist or that the Earth wasn't moving. One of the two. So then Einstein's theory of relativity disproved the ether, removed it completely from the equation, and made everything work by adding a whole shitload of zeros to everything, increasing this space, and by relying on gravity and gravitational pull.
But what is the ether? Is the ether like what we think
no
of
one,
as space and time right now?
It was just what they called what they couldn't explain, it being in. Like, there had to be, just like there's air in this room, there was something in space. Mm-hmm. Now, it being a vacuum provides a whole other host of problems.
Yeah, like I know we're going down a place you're not sure you want to go down. Just if you want to cut it off, cut it off. Like, to be totally honest.
Yeah, let's just cut that one off.
Okay, yeah, we can. Yeah, I don't want to. We could cut that one right off. I'm just gonna.
It's interesting, and that also plays into the 50th anniversary of the moon landing. Which, do you believe that we landed on the moon?
And this is hold on one sec for the people who can't see right now on the camera.
Sorry.
This is Russell DePeel talking. This is the gentleman behind the behind the scenes.
He's the man that makes us all happy.
He's the guy who does all the camera work. He's the one who cuts everything together. He edits it. He puts the whole thing together. So
I don't edit all of it.
Yeah, his name's Russell DePeel, and he's the one behind the scenes. Just so everybody knows where this voice is coming from, who's on the audio as well as on the cameras. So Russ, Justin McGloin just asked you a very pertinent question here.
Did we land on the moon 50 years ago today?
I don't.
That's Russ, Stevie.
I think there's, personally, like if you're asking me that question personally, yes, I think we do. But I think there's also evidence for both sides, considering what the film industry was back then.
My man, Russ. Yes, Russ.
But I also think that it would have been extremely hard to do both. I think that it would have been extremely hard to fake it, and I also think that it was extremely hard to do it.
Okay, how deep can we go into this? How deep do you want to go down this? Do you want to make a definite stance, Justin McGloin, or you just want to talk about it?
We did not land on the moon. That's my stance.
Oh, geez, you're gonna go live with that.
Why do you think?
Well,
I don't see anything wrong with that. Like, honestly, at this point, we're told that we lost the technology.
Well, there's too many weird things.
We taped over the most important thing that we've ever done, and if we're gonna talk about any conspiracy theory, that one makes the most sense to me. We couldn't do it. We had to do it. We had to. Not we, the Americans. They had to win the space race. So they figured out a way to win the space race. And everybody needs to go watch. A funny thing happened on the way to the moon. And they get busted in camera trickery. They're pre-dating or post-dating videos. Just check it out.
I think you're right. I think that they try to do it as a live broadcast, not realizing that shit was going to be fucking saved. And that people were going to be analyzing it 50 years later, frame by frame, and going, holy fuck, man.
Well, they talk about the Van Allen radiation belts. How do you get film through a radiation belt? How do you get reception on the moon? To send, like I can't get reception in my bathroom.
I know. I'm like, how did they send?
It's not reception. It's not like self-service.
No,
I know. They're beaming radio waves back.
No, but like
it's
not radio waves.
No, they're using
gamma
rays.
They have to use light rays, like
a radio, light waves or microwaves.
Well, that's a light wave, right? Like so,
it's in the light.
But it's been interrupted by the Van.
I don't know. I'm not a scientist, so I can't.
The most pressing thing is when they asked the guys how they got through the Van Allen radiation belts. The astronaut said, "I have no idea. We didn't factor it in because it wasn't a thing at the time." So now we have these. If you go on NASA for the Orion missions, they say our biggest obstacle is getting through the Van Allen radiation belt safely. When they did it 50 years ago.
They did it last time in a tin
if
can.
You're getting into the radiation belts, do you believe in the ISS? Do you believe that there's people in there right now?
He can't. I don't know if he can
in
go
the
on
space
that.
Station.
I don't know if he can go on that.
Yeah, I don't know on that one.
Okay, so like if the Van Allen radiation belts are so dangerous,
that's lower Earth orbit. That's like 400 miles up. That's different. We're talking about 250,000 miles to the moon and 400 miles. Very different. So
Yes.
the Van Allen radiation belts are what? Like, what are they? You look them up, like 80,000 miles away. So we
There's
have a gap.
also like other spacecraft orbiting way higher, transmitting information back constantly. Those are GPS
in the
satellites.
thermosphere, which is supposed to be hotter than any of these things metals can stand. I don't know, maybe.
My biggest pushback to that is I don't know either way. I never went to the moon myself, and I wasn't alive.
It's
in
not our reality.
1969.
It's like yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But my biggest pushback to it being faked was the camera equipment that they had back then wouldn't have not been able to fake it.
But it wouldn't have been able to film. You can't take a picture and then put the film on a dental X-ray chair and not have the film be screwed over.
Well, they
by
weren't
the
using film.
That's
they were using
directly
broadcast.
exposing
They
it
were
too,
using-
No, because there's film.
There is, but they
Or
just
there
couldn't-
was film. They destroyed the film, which is fucked.
See, that's what I'm saying. I'm like, it's kind of weird that
Who took
we just lost the
Who took
files.
the video of the thing taken off? There's a famous video of this lunar lander taking back off, and it's like who
did they
took
leave
that?
someone there, or like did they?
When they
record it?
landed this thing, how come there was no crater underneath? There's no dust on the footpads. There's nothing. I don't know. It's interesting. Anyway, just check. I don't think that it really matters, other than the fact that some other countries' tax dollars are paying millions of dollars a day to an organization.
And is that organization NASA?
Yes.
Okay,
And are they pretending to go use it for research on the moon and
maybe
using it as an actual war program,
weapon?
Yeah,
weaponization war program?
Maybe what they're doing now is all the right things, and maybe because they could never come out and admit it. Like let's be real, but like a spaceship with less technology than your cell phone 50 years ago today.
You know what would be funny if
went to the moon and came back, and if they faked that, they can never admit that. Like they could never say.
You know what would be funny? The reason
We
why,
didn't go.
like you hear about it, where they say the reason why they don't let everyone go into Area 51 is because that's where they do all the filming, and it's in the deserts there. And that way,
Let's storm Area 51 and figure this shit out.
So
I'm not storming Area 51.
if they basically show people in there, they would see all of the different craters and the shit that they have in the desert in that area there, because they could literally just shoot those at night with a big massive light.
Come on, Steve Van Dies. No way, man.
There's an area in Arizona
Talk to me about it.
that the topography looks the exact same as the Sea of Tranquility, with the craters and that big mountain that we saw in the background that looks perfectly the same. And Buzz Aldrin has vacation pictures of him there, like selfies in front of this thing, in front of this like mountain. I don't know. Conspiracy theorists run rampant with this stuff.
This is true.
Again, I don't think it really matters. If you were to ask, if I was a gambling man, I would say they faked it, and I understand why.
And the reason why is because they were trying to win the space race
Against Russia.
They didn't want Russia to get it, and that was the
Yeah.
same time capitalism versus communism.
Yeah.
Okay, so
And I completely understand why.
okay,
Yes.
so if you're going to be a betting man, what is the better system, capitalism or communism?
Oh boy.
I'm kidding, dude. I'm joking.
Capitalism for
Dude,
sure.
I'm joking. Dude, I'm totally kidding right now.
Well, I just
All
put
right.
it out there. So
Yeah,
there we
I
go.
know.
Edit that out.
I got to be here for some sort of comic relief.
There you go.
But we're talking about storming Area 51, right? So we kind of closed off the Bob Lazaar stuff a little bit.
Yeah, a little
Right?
bit.
A little bit. I mean, your stance on Bob Lazaar is you don't really believe him. He probably should have been offed a long time ago, right?
Well, not that he should have been. I don't think that anybody should be off. If he was running around peddling the information that he is,
It would have been more than a
he
slap on the
probably
wrist.
would have been offed.
Okay.
If
I
it
would
was
think
actual
anyway.
information, like if it was actual super sensitive information, they probably would have treated him like Edward Snowden.
Right, locked him up.
Ooh.
Hey,
Okay.
whatever happened to the other guy though too? That they stole from the embassy,
Oh, he's gone. You'll never hear of him again.
Yeah,
Is he-
Snowden.
No,
What
no,
was
no,
the other
no,
guy's
no.
name?
the Wikipedia guy,
Snowden's
the-
Wikipedia.
no,
There's two
no,
of them.
the
Snow-
WikiLeaks.
No, WikiLeaks guy.
When
Yeah,
I-
you always keep saying Wikipedia.
Sorry,
The
WikiLeaks.
WikiLeaks.
The
No, there's
WikiLeaks
Snowden
guy.
and the other guy.
Snowden's in Russia. The WikiLeaks guy, the U.S. extradited out
Yeah,
of...
from where was he? Colombia or
No, he was in London.
He was in
in
London.
the Ecuadorian embassy.
Ecuadorian embassy.
And then they
Claiming some weird asylum, like
and then
some
he-
loophole, and,
and
then
then
they're
he
like,
got out.
"This guy's teeth smells
Apparently
bad."
he went rank, man. He'd been there for like 6 or 7 years, and they said like he wasn't throwing out his garbage,
And he was
wasn't
I know, that's what I'm
bathing
saying.
anymore, like losing his. Like
Yeah.
how long can he sit inside an apartment building? They just go crazy.
Yeah, he was like skateboarding in there and like shitting
Yeah.
himself and like just going nuts.
They're like this is an office building.
He wasn't brushing his
like
teeth.
they're doing actual like embassy work, whatever they do in the embassy. There's like some interns and secretaries, and then just
And this
Some
guy
guy
lives there.
skateboarding.
fucking comes rolling through on a skateboard, eating McDonald's. That what's her name? Pamela
feeding
Anderson
him?
was a big fan of his. She used to drop him off food.
What was his name?
That's
Can-
how
can,
quickly
Russ,
he disappeared.
Russ, can you Google
That's
this
how
guy's
quickly he's
name?
going.
Yeah, like we'll never hear from that guy
It's
again.
crazy that I can't even think of it.
Yeah, no, he got extradited. He was Edward Snowden, and then he was a big story, like massive story.
Yeah, we'll never hear from him again.
Is he gonna
But
die?
That's what would have happened to this guy if he
Yeah,
was running
Bob
around
Lazaar.
talking about action. Like, what do you think foreign governments, or now, here's the other side,
Julian
Or-
Assange.
Oh,
Julian
Julian
Assange.
Assange, yeah.
or it's so inconsequential, either everybody else has it, or we're far enough removed from it that we can't use it, or we've already used it way more than anybody knows.
Yeah.
Those are the three options.
Or they wanted us to know.
That's
Ooh, that's another rabbit hole.
Now,
though.
when you were gone, that's how we got down that conversation, was me saying it's controlled.
Ah.
Either it's not true, or they're allowing it.
They're allowing it because they
Jeez.
want to see what happens.
Yeah, yeah.
Or they
yeah,
just
it's
like
a-
to stir the pot.
It's just to stir
And
the
prepare
pot.
us for
Well, because
when they
they
actually
do.
There's
release
for
stuff.
big D disclosure.
Because you got to think about it, like even with the movies, you got to pay attention to the movies that are coming out because they use movies to help really control the population.
It
and-
started with
and things.
Independence Day.
So
We could see that. This park over Washington, D.C. Oh, fuck.
yeah, but that's
Yeah,
what they
but
do
you-
because like you got to look.
Trump's like, we got to build a wall over.
Dude, why did you do it in like the freaking Nixon voice?
Isn't he from New York? Over? I don't know how they talk.
I don't know how they talk.
I don't
in New
know.
York,
I
man. Yeah, I know what you're
can't do a
saying,
New
though.
York accent.
Yeah, yeah,
Just edit that out.
yeah. Yeah, no. This is live. Yeah, let's go.
Trump does a Trump accent. He doesn't do New York accent.
Yeah, I don't even know
It's
his
a Trump
accent. Yeah, but anyways, yeah, you could definitely see that happening over New York from Independence Day.
But this is how it starts.
Yeah, yeah. You're talking about movies, Stevie, and movies.
Well,
kind
no,
of-
they're
kind of
in
condition
the
people's
government.
minds.
They've always been in the government. Like the union, they're in the government. So they sit at the round table with the rest of them, and they say yeah. How do you think Reagan even got in there? Because when he was the head of the union thing, what was the name of that? Like the film industry, basically
The
like
Guild?
Not the
Film
guild,
Actors Guild?
not the Film Actors Guild. It's not that. There's
What's the acronym
like
for
Universal Pictures and all those guys are all part of a student like a studio
No idea.
union, and they basically
I'll check that out.
They're in the actual government, which means that they sit there and they say, okay, so we need the people to think about this, so let's make movies like this.
Is this a real thing or a conspiracy?
This is an actual thing.
And this is something you can look up.
Yeah, you should be able to look it up.
Yeah, look it
Now,
up.
do they come to the government, or does the government go to them and say, "Hey"?
No,
we
they're
need to
in
push this?
the circle. Like you know how like when you got like the music industry, like there's the head of the music industry, there's the head of the
kinda like
film
Bilderberg
industry,
Group and stuff,
and then they
or-
have like their little
That's
round
kind of
tables.
different.
Really, that's
They're
whole different.
They're
That's
think
bigger.
tanks. They think tanks, and they say, okay, this is what we need to do.
Yo.
This is our agenda. This is how we're going to do this. Okay, well, we need to prepare them mentally to get them on this thing. Okay, let's start putting out some movies. Let's start putting out some Holocaust movies, and you'll see like a whole bunch of Holocaust movies coming out at the same time.
I've heard about
Because-
this before.
because they
basically
basically what they do is they fund those they say, okay, we need to do movies like this.
Mm-hmm.
So then they fund people to make those kinds of movies.
Yeah,
and push those types of
it's-
agendas, and then they
It's controlling the information through a trickle at first,
yeah.
so we get used to it. It doesn't sound crazy anymore.
No,
They're doing that right now with like they're pushing certain agendas that I don't want to touch on because it's not very PC. But when you look at children's cartoons right now, you're like, the fuck are they teaching these kids?
Oh, look at
Right?
Bill Nye. Ooh.
Yeah, well, there's a lot of them. There's
Yeah.
like what's going on with these
there's
movies?
all of that stuff, all the Avengers stuff. Like they're pushing all like it's all in the same.
Even look at James Bond right now. James Bond's no longer James Bond, and that's probably I'm gonna get shit on it for it. But it's like they're pushing certain agendas right now. I don't know if you know what I'm
I
talking
know
about.
exactly.
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, we're not going to touch it. But I'm just saying there's an agenda being pushed there, and if you read between the lines, there's something being pushed.
There's a reason why for it.
It may quote unquote not necessarily be bad, and I'm not going to say it's a bad thing for certain reasons, but like I see that being an agenda being pushed. When I see something like that, it's like you're pushing an agenda on people. It's not because, oh, we need to switch it up and make it look good. It's like there's an agenda. Even same thing with the Black Panther movie. Read between the lines on that. That wasn't a there's an agenda being put there. And you know what? It's funny because the people who produced all that Black Panther shit are all white people. So the money went back to the white guys anyway. You know?
Yeah.
They made an uncriticizable movie.
Yeah, you can't. Yeah, exactly.
What
You know
are
what I'm
you
saying? But I mean, there's pandering. You're tapping into certain demographics just to get the dollar, and I don't understand why people can't see past that.
But I feel like he's right in that they also use the the media to normalize things
Massively.
Yeah.
Yeah, huge. Yeah, and they're in cahoots with each other. They have to be, right? That's why you have big box films and independent films. And a lot of times the independent films are like have a way better message than the big box films. Big box films have good messages too, but
not like when we were kids.
I know. That's what I'm
Things
saying.
used to have a moral.
A moral. I know the morals are completely out the window, and it's whatever goes, right? And that's kind of like the message that the government, you know, like not to get too crazy on us again, but that's kind of what the way of the world's going. And if you go back to biblical teachings, that's kind of where it's heading, is the just do whatever you want to do. And what is do what thou wilt? Who said that? Aleister Crowley?
Yep.
Do as thou wilt. And what was his background?
Yeah, it's funny.
Well,
if you follow
JPL, if you really want to get into it.
if you
Jet Propulsion Laboratory. He was a massive part of the modern space program, NASA, that whole thing.
Crowley.
Crowley was a big part of JPL.
Yeah, and
Jet
what other
Propulsion
organizations was he a part of? Many other ones doing
totally.
a bunch of crazy
and then
stuff.
crazy occult stuff.
Yeah.
Look at the person that he says that he viewed through that interdimensional seance that he did.
And who's that?
It's a gray. It looks like a gray.
And a gray is to our audience of what? An alien.
That alien that's on the back
The perfect
thing.
alien on the back, yeah. The gray.
Yeah, like.
Anyways, it all ties together. You just have to read between the lines on this shit, right?
yeah,
I mean, I guess where
It's
nothing is safe. Here.
nothing is safe. But yeah, it's all designed to make you believe.
This is what he
to
saw.
separate.
That's how he drew the guy. He's like, so that was his being that he talked to through this interdimensional seance that he was doing while being part of Jet Propulsion Laboratory.
Can this go on the camera at all, Stevie? If I were to put it close enough? Or is that
Well,
silly?
I think you'd have to be over here and put it up on. Can you get that? Can we see that? I don't know if it's. If we can
It'll probably be out of focus.
It's a little bit out of focus.
We got to figure out how to do that. But yeah, just Google. What did you just Google?
You can see
there?
it.
I just Googled Crowley. Oh, I can't stand up here. I'm all strapped in.
Yeah.
I just Googled Crowley alien.
They won't be able, Crowley alien. They won't be able to see it because you're in focus in a certain thing. So let's see that, Russ. I don't think they'll be able to see it though, to be honest.
He saw it.
Oh, they saw
It'll
it?
be a little bit focused, but they already saw it.
Yeah,
So
it's Crowley Gray.
So I don't know, man. Like it's all. He said that he had full on conversations with this thing, and
He was on some wild. That was on some wild behavior there.
and he was big into like Jack Parsons and the JPL, which is Jet Propulsion Laboratory.
Yeah.
Jack Parsons, I believe, was the guy that started that. He was just a guy who in his backyard built rockets.
Yep.
It's the occult and NASA is a very cool interlinked subject. If you really want to.
Yeah, that's
Dive
another rabbit
down a
hole that
rabbit hole.
we're not going to dive down right now because
we don't need to.
yeah, it's too long of an episode for that. But I would like to. Well, no, you could go for another hour or 2 hours.
sure,
and I would
yeah.
love to talk about that, but right now it's just not the time or place. We might have to do a second episode on something like that.
Well,
So-
you'll always come back.
Yeah, we can always have you back if you want to.
For sure.
We haven't really touched on the Area 51 thing though. So, how did this start, and what is going on with this? Can you explain to us, like what is happening? Like, do people want to storm Area 51? What the fuck is everyone thinking here?
So I think this started. I think it was Facebook, but it started as a.
A joke, or is this serious?
I have no idea. I would assume that it started as a joke.
Because my whole thing's just Area 51 memes. My whole thing is that even like I'm into hip hop in the battle rap community. There's people who put they put in battle rap. A lot of people make noises, and there's certain like Big T. There's certain like even Sharon. Like there's certain artists who make gun noises during the battles. They go bo 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 bow 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 bo 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 bo. Like they make like certain noises while they're rapping, like. You know, like when people lick shots, like, bruh, 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 right? Like there's these memes where it's like, what's going to happen to you if you try and enter Area 51? And I just watched a video of 5 minutes of like battle rappers making gun noises, right?
Well, there's no way. Like, it's not going to happen.
Yeah.
there's no way that a bunch of people at that age group are going to run 20 miles and try to storm.
And what's the age group? Is this like 20-year-olds?
I would assume, yeah. It's not even like a 4chan level thing. You know what 4chan
Yeah, I know
is.
4chan. Yeah, that's a big thing.
It's less than that. It's just like
okay,
it's
so
like a Facebook movement.
Let's say if there's 1 million people, I've done events. I've done enough events in my life. I know that only 10% of people show up. So out of 1 million, you're gonna have 100,000 people there who show up. What are these 100,000 people doing?
They're planning on running 20 miles to the Mojave Desert.
Okay.
And then getting shot.
They know they're going to get shot?
Well, no, I doubt it. The whole idea is that they can't stop us all. But yes, they can. And they will.
Okay, here's my pushback to that. One, if you kill 100,000 people and just mow them down, you have a bad PR campaign. I think they'll hit them with riot gear, or
those
they might
pellet
just,
guns?
or
like those beanbags?
Yeah, those beanbag guns, like in
Just
Jackass
stun everybody?
From like 2000.
No,
gas everybody?
They'll use the sonar.
They'll hit them with
the
something.
Sound guns.
Yeah. They'll be like,
blast out their eardrums.
You want some alien technology? Here it is. And everyone will just get wasted by some heat wave.
They won't get shot. They would never make it that far. The first thing is the 20 miles.
Well, can't they drive? ATVs, cars, there's roads. There's back roads to Area 51. I've watched videos
Yeah,
on
what
it.
happened if everyone had 100,000 cars?
So they're going to roll in 2x2? It's a narrow road.
Yeah, I know it's a narrow dirt road.
Surrounded by
mountainous rage with snipers, legit snipers.
So no. So
this is
then a Humvee sitting sideways
would block the road.
A Hummer.
Humvee.
Sits,
but what's the term for Humvee? That's a short form.
Oh, I don't know.
Oh, okay.
What is it?
I don't know.
I don't know. A Hummer, a military vehicle, whatever they're using now, sits sideways. And then stops everything because you can't really go around.
You can't, yeah. Well, you kind of can, but not really. But yeah, they could just block the road.
Yeah,
I know.
Nothing's going to happen. Now, here's the wild conspiracy theory that's out there around this: is that it's a movement that has been used to take the hashtag away from the Epstein trial.
Ooh, this is a rabbit hole, and I'm willing to go down.
Which is the Epstein trial?
The pedophile stuff.
The sex trafficking, high elite pedophile.
Oh, for the one that they would do all these high end people would go on a boat for?
Yeah, go to that island. So that was trending, and then the next day, now there's just a million.
How messed up is that?
Is that real? I don't know. I'm not there. I don't know. Okay.
Is what real?
Okay. Is there?
So the Epstein thing is real.
Oh fuck. Well, now we're just nothing is safe here, I guess.
The Epstein thing is real. Whether or not it's a distraction to get the trending hashtags, I don't follow hashtags well enough. I don't know. But that's the predominant deep internet conspiracy theory around that subject right now. Is that it's just
and who's Epstein?
A distraction.
Joel?
So Epstein is this is interesting. So Epstein is a guy who's supposed to be a financial broker who no one has ever done business with. They have no idea how he made his money. They think that what he did was took powerful people to his little island.
And then blackmailed them.
Using what happened there. So
Did he get these guys drunk?
In his house, they found a whole catalog of films labeled young blank name and blank high profile person. So
like young boy.
He would take
and high profile.
He would take
person.
us down on a plane, bring these ladies that were too young to be there.
They would.
Okay, hold on one second. By too young, how do you mean too young? Do you mean like
illegally, like underage?
Underage.
Like
16,
underage. Okay,
17,
I'm not advocating this in the slightest.
Let's just say underage.
Is this underage like a 2-year-old baby? Or
no,
underage
no,
is in like
a
14-year-old.
14 to 16-year-old girls.
Okay, that's still disgusting.
And then have a party.
Did these guys know? Did they know that these girls are underage?
I have no idea.
Okay, I'm just asking a question.
I would assume not.
Okay,
or that they didn't know that they were being videotaped. Either way, it seems like he was videotaping these people and then using that against them.
To blackmail them.
Yeah, to get.
And that's where he got his money.
He has unreasonable amounts of money. But they caught him with a Saudi Arabian passport with his picture, but a different name. He has a full-on working dentist chair with all the equipment in his main bathroom. He's a weird dude, and he has an island, and on the middle of St. James I think St. James Island.
This is the Caribbean?
It's in the Virgin Islands.
Yeah.
There's like a big temple that he built. Like, he's a weird dude, man. And then he was arrested in like 2003. Got off very easily. He did 9 months in jail with day passes every day. So he got to leave for 12 hours a day.
Oh, wow, because he had dirt on these guys.
They put him up in Palm Springs, and his jail was one massive cell where he had a canopy bed and a TV, and he would just go there for 12 hours a night and sleep. Weird shit. And this was like all the rage. And him and Bill Clinton are big friends.
They're buddies.
Yeah, Bill's on his flight itinerary like 28 times. And he always used to tell his Secret Service people to just stay behind so they didn't see what was going on. Now, I don't want to say what was happening, but that was a big movement. You'll notice that there's lots of sex trafficking things going on right now. There's that NIVX sex cult out of Hollywood. There's the R. Kelly thing where he just got busted with 20 counts of sex trafficking minors.
Okay, hold on one sec. What's with these famous people and with sex trafficking? Because, like, let's say I'm a famous actor, a famous musician, famous this, famous that, famous marketer, famous business person. The last thing I'm fucking doing is touching an underage whatever the hell and then ruining all of my work.
Well, no, but they get to a position where they feel that they're untouchable.
Why are you touching anything underage?
Because it's that whole thing about being corrupted, and you just start carrying that temptation. It's that temptation just gets you.
It's the whole thing about taboo.
Oh, it's at a point where you can have anything you want.
There's
like,
nothing.
I'm going to have
there's
that.
nothing left. John Lennon married Yoko Ono. She's not a very attractive woman. John Lennon said that when you reach a point where you can have anybody that you want, you find somebody that challenges you.
Yeah.
Now, let's say that you're not a good person. Not that John Lennon was a great person. He beat his first wife and blah, 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 blah. But let's say that you're one of these people and you've explored every taboo possible. What's the next one? What's the next thing? What's the rush?
Yeah, that's the whole thing about
What's the
that's the
rush?
whole downward spiral about that whole.
I've never
that's
even
the whole
thought
downward
about that
spiral about how the evil thing. Like you're just gonna just go down. Like that's how darkness goes. It just goes deeper and deeper and deeper, and then you keep looking.
You can't
for the next rush.
justify that though. There's no justification for that.
Well, We'll let you dig into this one.
I'll dig into it
because,
for sure.
Man,
I'll research it, but like I'm putting the pieces together and logically.
Regardless of your opinions on Trump, one of the first things that he said was that sex trafficking was a massive issue in the U.S. The arrests under Trump in this area have gone up. I'm sure that you can pull up stats like exponentially, and he was a part of that socialite world and probably saw, as a guy who went to these parties but never drank. Trump has never had a drink. How many secrets have been spilled by these sleaze bags that have all the money in the world, and now they're kind of starting to pick them off. I don't know. But that's what I see.
Isn't Ashton Kutcher really against that too? He's got a whole movement.
Oh yeah,
because he probably ended up at those parties. Good-looking guy, young dude.
So is Keanu Reeves. Keanu Reeves owns a motorcycle shop like in Eastern Europe. He won't live in Europe, in Hollywood. He says that they eat babies.
Yeah.
Look
at Aleister Crowley. They do all that type of
stuff.
That's
what's her name?
That's the founder of youth.
Katy Perry.
Yeah.
Katy Perry is on a French talk show talking about the taste of human flesh.
Yeah.
Fucked up.
Yeah, she was. Yeah, I know. I saw that.
Like these people are like there's shit going on.
There's some weird.
And they make it seem as a joke. Yeah, it's chickeny. Whatever. Yeah, it kind of tastes like chicken.
No, there's some weird demonic shit that's happening in LA. Like weird demonic stuff. Like you go in there, like people are weird, and there's like it's very demonic. There's some like weird spirits running around over there for sure.
It's City of Angels.
Huh?
City of Angels.
City of Fallen Angels is what it is.
It's an interesting place, and I feel like we're just scratching the surface. And I feel like if that were to hit the mainstream,
it did. But then you're saying it got shut down with this Area 51 thing trending. And do you think that's actually a real thing, the Area 51, or it was just Zuckerberg being like, okay, let's trend this thing out?
We'll never see Area 51 happen. I don't think
so. Like, who's going to be dumb enough to run up in there?
But it's fun, though. It's fun.
It's hilarious.
I'll make a meme and post it and get a ton of a ton of traction and
comments and likes, and
whatever.
Yeah.
And I don't think that it's actually going to happen. And here's my thing, and I think I said this to you earlier. At the end of the day, if you have any sense at all, and you're watching Joe Rogan interview Bob Lazaar talking about things that are in Area 51, they're not still there. If I'm trying to hide something and you guys are talking about it being in place A, I'm going to move it to place B, and promote the hell out of place A so that you guys keep looking at place A.
Smoke screen.
1,000%. These people are high level military, like that to me just seems logical. There's nothing at Area 51. There's probably some low level secret
Military
planes,
stuff.
whatever, but there's not like
there's all those other areas though. They do underground nuclear testing. That's true.
Yep.
They do all sorts of different propulsion type things. That's true, right? They do all sorts of different experiments, but like maybe this Area 51 is just an entire smokescreen hoax, whatever, and you just send all the attention there, and there's nothing actually there. And then they're like, oh yeah, let's storm it. 100,000 people show up, and I'm like, oh, it's just a warehouse.
If what he said is true,
who, Steve?
Yeah, about the people from the film industry sitting at the table, there would not be Area 51 movies like we've seen if it was an actual thing. Independence Day would not have referenced Area 51 if these people were sitting at the same table. There hasn't been anything there in years. Guaranteed.
I can actually see that point.
It's staffed, and it's there to keep people looking there.
Occupied there.
Yeah.
That's a smart military move. There's a name for it.
That's what I would do.
don't even know what the name is, but there's a name for that.
That's what I would do.
It's like a Trojan horse almost.
It's like a misdirection. Musicians do it all the time.
Look over here.
Yeah, look over here.
And
they're doing the real shit down here.
So that's what I would do. There's nothing there. No one's really going to go. It's fun, though. The idea of a bunch of young neckbeards that only live on the internet trying to run 20 miles towards... Like, that's funny to me.
They're going to run out of IPAs. They're going to be like, we need some IPA before we do this.
Like, a marathon's 26 miles, right? So these untrained people are going to run a marathon across the Mojave Desert and then...
Storm a place?
Like, come on. Like really?
Yeah, that's actually really funny when
ridiculous.
You think about it. Yeah, but they can use ATVs in certain different sort of transportation devices to do
motorcycles, ATVs.
I'm interested, man. I will live stream that. I'll even go watch it.
Dude, I want to set up a drone out there.
September 20th.
You know what?
Have you seen the video of the guy with the drone that shut down the neighbor's party by strapping fireworks to it?
That's hilarious.
That's a video you got to watch.
Dude, I'll watch that.
This is what I was promised. Like, in the future, this is what it's awesome. It's like a big party going on in the streets, and he just like comes up over the fence and just starts shooting like Roman candles into the crowd. It's awesome. You got to check it out. Sorry, you were saying?
No, I was saying like, what if everyone just I don't know what the range would be on, but like just get a bunch of drones and just fucking fly a bunch of drones in there.
Yeah, we'll see really quick what we have for nanotech, I guess, eh?
Oh geez, those mosquitoes show up like
take out all the drones.
Nanotech's terrifying. Seeing those like swarm things. Oh
yeah, I know, that's wild. Swarms. Yeah, you know what? Taking this back in Call of Duty. There was a weapon. It was a swarm. You get a bonus or whatever it's called. Like after a certain amount of kills, you get certain things, right? In Call of Duty, there's something called a swarm, and you chuck a swarm out, and it's a bunch of like little drones that just go, and just kill everybody. Yeah.
Did you ever see that movie Transcendence with Johnny Depp?
No.
That was pretty cool. They got nanobots in that one.
Nanobots, eh? Yeah. Maybe that's something
technology.
It's a whole other rabbit hole for another time.
A whole other rabbit hole.
Geez, you're going to have to come on the show more often.
Yeah, I think we might have to get
we got to see how this one actually views, because I feel like we were all over the place.
We were.
I think people like that, though.
I think people like that, yeah. I was trying to close things up. We closed down Crispr. We kind of closed down Bob Lazaar.
We closed down
Evolution.
Look into Crispr for yourself, because like a lot of these things, there's a lot of really good sides to it. Like if somebody wants to say, do you want to remove autism from the population, or do you want to remove, imperfect, like the glasses industry just gone now because we can remove that, or male pattern baldness, whatever, you can make a good justification for it. But it's just a matter of whether or not morally you believe.
I have a question for you. I remember he showed this to me before, where this guy's putting a sperm and mixing it with an actual egg and creating like a...
Oh, that was the weirdest video I've ever seen in my life.
Creating an actual being? Or like a fucking weird ass little
What
thing.
did he create? Have you ever seen that video? It was like this Russian guy, or he was either Russian or in Asia somewhere.
I've not seen this.
Oh, he put his own human sperm and he put it in a petri dish
with an egg,
and he grew it with like some form of egg and grew a life form.
What kind of an egg?
I can't remember, but he grew this life form. It had an eye and a mouth, and it just like grew out of a petri dish.
That's gotta be fake.
In some fucked up way. You have to watch the video. I don't know if it's real or not.
Another rabbit hole we don't need to go down, but put this one on your list is deep fakes.
Deep fakes?
Deep fakes. Have you looked into deep fakes?
You talking like a Boston bombing? Like where like?
No. So now the film technology exists where you can I can make you in this setting say whatever I want.
Yeah. They do that. The Adobe Suite is starting to do that with their voiceover. You can actually make people say things with Adobe.
Crazy.
Yeah.
So I don't know if I believe anything that you can't, like...
That's tough. That's
if you
crazy.
haven't seen it, like, in person, I don't know how you believe it.
Well, I used to say that about people all the time, and I was talking about 9/11.
You went to the moon, eh?
Well,
I guess.
I wasn't there, but I was. Everyone asked me about, hey, what happened with 9/11? And I just say, like, look, like, I actually wasn't there. I didn't see it. Like, I didn't. What is that? Is that guy's little fucked up little animal? Let's see it. Oh, you just threw it out there? Yeah, he grew. YouTube that. What did you just YouTube or Reddit or whatever?
I just YouTubed Russian sperm chicken egg.
Yeah, this guy put his sperm in with like some weird egg, and he grew this little being, and it was like
he grew a couple of them, and they just kept dying.
And they kept dying on him and like acting up and stuff. It was weird.
You had it in
like
a little aquarium.
One of them would like spit at him all the time. He'd just be like, and it had this little mouth and this one eye, like
That's
this
terrifying to me. I don't like. I find that very unsettling.
I was like, I'm tempted to do it.
It was very unsettling. I'm like, dude, that's technically his offspring.
No, it's not.
I don't know what it is. It's fucking weird.
Anyway, as in the days of Noah.
Yeah, McGloin's offended right now.
I'm not offended.
Yeah, I know you're not. I know. You don't get offended.
Yeah.
I guess
it was good. I guess
that's an episode. Yeah, we're going on about
we went on a lot of tangents.
Yeah, we went on a lot of tangents.
Nothing was safe on this one.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Did we offend anybody? I don't know if I'm dead set on any one of those positions.
Yeah.
No, these are just discussions.
I just like talking about this stuff. I find it very interesting, and I'm big into, like, if I haven't seen it, I can't prove it. I don't know.
It's not your reality.
Right? So I like to discuss it. It's fun.
Dude, I'm down. Yeah, that was a great episode. Justin McGloin, thank you so much for being on the show. This is the Thought Exchange. Russell DePeel, thank you for your input. Steve Van Diest.
You guys got to have him contribute more often.
Oh, yeah, he's got his own mic.
Yeah, he's got his own mic. Russell, can you say something to the audience here and just be like, hey, what's up? It's Russell DePeel.
What's up, guys?
Hey, yeah, that's Russ.
That's Russ, guys.
That's Russ talking.
My name's Russ.
What's your closing advice, Russ?
Don't believe everything you read on the internet.
There you go.
That's a great thing.
That's
fake news.
Hashtag fake news.
Hashtag fake news.
Hashtag fake news.
And don't storm a secret military
well, no,
base.
if they don't storm it, we won't be able to watch it.
It's a massive loss of life. We don't need to see that.
Oh, yeah, I don't want
to.
to.
That's terrible.
They wouldn't off everybody.
They can't.
If they did,
that would be really bad at the same time.
It'd be a bad PR thing. Yeah.
The military's come out and said, please don't try it.
Well, no, they have like signs up on the thing saying you will be shot for trespassing. So like it is America, and you can technically shoot people when you want to if they trespass.
Well, that would happen here too.
What do you mean? If I shoot someone on my property, I'm going to jail?
No, I mean,
to a military compound.
If we were to all try to storm a top secret Canadian military base, we would not survive.
Yeah.
Well, it depends on how many people are on that base.
Well, we can't muster 1/36 of the planet, or sorry, of the country. So
of the country, yeah, we're not. Yeah, we'd get wasted. Yeah, would have done, or at least arrested. Or like we'd get like gang.
What if 1 million people show up to that thing?
They're not going to.
That'd be amazing.
That would be crazy. It'd be like a $1 million man march.
Burning Man 2.0, and just a big music festival.
Big music festival,
that's just it.
I don't think anything's gonna happen. One, you're saying the neckbeards have to go from 0 to 20-mile jog through the Mojave Desert. No one's making that. I would barely make that, and I'm in like 80% good shape.
You couldn't make that. You couldn't run a marathon.
No, I'm saying it would take me like 2 days, and I'd be like sweating and balls, and then I'd get to the thing, and I'd be like, yeah, fuck this. I don't want to get shot. I'm going back.
Then there's razor wire. And,
there's like,
like God knows what.
Yeah. And then I get to the sign saying you will be sniped in the head if you cross this threshold.
No. That's at the beginning of the 20 miles.
Oh, geez. Okay, yeah. And there's the guys in this. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, anyway, fuck that. Yeah, anyways, like, yeah. Do you think they would, before we close the episode off here, do you think they would just snipe one guy, just big 50 caliber?
Can we make a
piece
deal?
As an example?
Can we make a deal?
I'll bet you $100.
If this happens on September 20th, can I come back and we live stream it?
Dude, that'd be hilarious.
And watch it?
And just watch it?
And like just get our reaction to it? Dude. I'll bring the chips, and we'll just sit.
Dude,
and
I'm
just
down.
Watch.
Yeah, September 20th. Are you here? September 20th?
See what happens?
Yeah, let's do it.
I should be here.
I'm legit down for that. Can we live stream
We'll have a watch
Absolutely.
party.
We'll have a watch party. Okay, everyone listening, we're having watch party September 20th, Justin McGloin, and we're watching people storm Area 51 like a bunch of nubs.
It's going to be amazing.
Dude,
it's not going to happen, but
yeah,
we'll see.
Yeah, and if it doesn't happen, we can
How are they going to live stream it? Who's live streaming this?
Someone will.
Somebody.
Someone's
on
gonna
their phone?
Facebook Live.
Someone's going to
Somebody's
Facebook
got
Live
it.
it. If a million people show up,
Facebook
there's
Live,
a Facebook
Twitter Live. We'll figure it out.
Yeah, we'll figure it out, man.
Instagram stories.
Yeah, that's going on
News would
Instagram.
be
story.
there. We could watch it on CNN for God's sake.
Yeah, probably,
Yeah.
eh?
And then all the helicopters are there. They're going to have a whole bunch of helicopters there watching over them.
Trump
the
will come
military.
out and be like, "You're not going to find any aliens. I've already deported them."
Oh, geez, yeah.
It'll be great.
Was that tweet real?
No. of
Oh,
course
geez,
not.
yeah.
Of
There's
course
all these
not.
fake tweets, but yeah, that's hilarious.
It's so good.
Dude,
Anyway.
the fake Trump tweets kill me. Yeah. But anyways, ladies and gentlemen, Steve Van Diest. Steve Van Diest, you going to say bye?
Thank you very much for joining us on the Thought Exchange
Yeah. And the podcast?
and the podcast where nothing is safe.
Nothing was safe this episode.
Yeah.
Justin McGloin, thank you so much for
Thanks
joining
for
us.
having me.
No worries. Give me another handshake there, buddy. Thanks for coming on. Russ Appeal, thank you guys. This is the Thought Exchange. Cameron Barkey here. Podcast where nothing is safe. See you guys next week.
Peace.
Peace.
Okay. That's an episode.
How bad was that? Amazing. Were we all over the place?
That's good. That's what we like.